Out to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
Alrighty.
All right.
Morning.
Good morning.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just being a little happy penguin.
As always.
Eating my fish.
What's going on in your Monero world, man? Anything?
Been nothing too crazy. Just been doing a little bit of work this week.
Okay. Anything you can share that's Monero related or not? Not really.
Not the moment.
Okay.
We'll see next week.
Okay. Yeah, what do we got? What do we got going on today? So big show. We got Nodo coming on. So
Awesome.
Team Nodo, which I'm obviously part of, but we got the guys that are actually working on it that will be jumping on, giving us the update. That project has been taking a little bit longer than hoped, but we got some good announcements. We've been taking advantage of the delays and using that time to improve the Nodo project and add some cool features that I think people will be excited about. So we will cover that. But yeah, today let's do the price. Then we'll do the dev report. We'll bring on the guests, and then we'll bring viewers on stage so they can participate, and then do the news so they can participate in the news.
Awesome.
Actually, let me just say, Buenos Aires, we're headed down there soon. Shit, we're headed down there like, when are we going? November. Headed down there, I think like around the 8th. And we're going to La BitConf, which is the 10th and the 11th. So anybody that's in the Buenos Aires area, please reach out. Maybe, I don't know, best way. Email us.
Spread Monero propaganda.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's up at contact. What is our? Oh my god, what's our Monerotopia? It's contact@Monerotopia, right? Or email, I think.
Is it Monerotopia@protonmail.com?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm confusing that with gratuitous. Monerotopia@protonmail.com. So if anybody wants to reach out, wants to meet up while we're down there and sees this, please send us an email. That's the best way so we don't lose track of stuff. Monerotopia@protonmail.com. Maybe we'll do a meetup down there. Andres from Moneruju is going to be giving a talk at La BitConf, which is super exciting. La BitConf is like really, really big. I think thousands of people attended. It's been going on since I think 2012. It's a big conference, old school. And the guys behind it are Monero friendly. We've been talking to them. I had them on the show, I think about a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago now, before Monerotopia. Interviewed one of the guys. They're into Monero. They're old school Bitcoiners, but like kind of, cypherpunk guys that like the digital cash aspects. So it's very cool that they're open to Monero and allowing us to participate in the conference. Andres will be giving his talk in Spanish, teaching people about Monero. And we'll be down there trying to meet people, give away Monero. Thanks to Cake. Cake is sponsoring us, giving us some funds to help us get down there and to also provide us funds to give away a bunch of Monero. So we'll onboard people live at the conference. And then the conference itself is working with us to give us like an area that we'll have, which is kind of cool. Like a little spot we'll have for our Monero propaganda. So that should be cool.
That's awesome. And I'm jealous you can see Andreas.
And we got to see Andres. And like I said, we'll try to throw a little meetup, maybe like a little after party on don't know, the conference is Friday and Saturday. Maybe Sunday we do it, or in the evening on Friday or Saturday. If we can find a time where we're not competing with some other event, have people just meet up at a bar. Maybe we could get like, I don't know, get a couple of fun-loving Monero people to come hang out in Buenos Aires. That's it. I guess the other thing, other announcement is we interviewed Seth this week. That was good. I'm sure a lot of people seen that already. But yeah, check that out. That was on all the new rules that came down from FinCEN. That was a good discussion.
I need
Scary.
to it, but yeah.
But yeah, let's take it away. Let's move it along. It's beautiful over here in New York. I want to get outside. All right.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Local Monero. Avoid using KYC exchanges. Buy and sell Monero directly for fiat, peer-to-peer.
Bawdy, good morning. Hello. Hey guys, I don't know if you can't hear me or I can't. I don't know what's going on.
No, it's my fault. As usual, I forgot to unmute myself on.
I did that earlier.
No worries.
So, how are you gentlemen doing this morning?
Good. It's like unseasonably warm here, which is awesome. Beautiful day. Beautiful, like
global
summer.
Warming for the win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of global warming.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you live in the north, like, why wouldn't you want to warm up a little bit?
Right? It's just going to lead to better things.
I mean, there used to be glaciers where you live, so, this is an improvement. I watched some video where this guy was talking about methane, and he was like showing that methane, like spikes in methane for like historically have preceded a very rapid, like decades-long warming event where you get like 2 or 3 more degrees just like very quickly, and then it kind of tapers off. I mean, I don't know what to make of all that. Climate science is incredibly complex, which is kind of why it's like a joke to me to hear them. Well, we don't want to get banned from YouTube, so maybe I'll reserve my opinion there on that one. But it's a very complex science, so it's hard to attribute changes to any one particular thing. I'll just say that.
I know we can't even figure out what the price of Monero is going to be tomorrow, let alone what the weather is going to be in 10 years from now, right? I mean, come on, it's pretty hard to predict. But yeah, we don't need
price
to go
of
down
Monero
unless you want to. You're welcome to say whatever you want on this show, obviously.
Well, I mean, I just don't, I don't want to get caught up in the I don't know, whatever bots they use to scan for the keywords and the wrong think.
Yeah, I told you we got flagged, right?
Or you guys are already in the bad graces because of the interview with Health Ranger, right?
Yeah, that was. I literally think just because we had Health Ranger in the name, like it's an auto flag. Like that's crazy that he is so banned that if you just bring the guy on or just like mention him in the title,
you got to misspell his name on purpose.
That's insane.
HEATLTH Ranger with an at and a 3 for the E.
Yeah,
and get away with it that way.
Obviously has the opposite effect. Everybody wants to hear what he has to say, right? Like it's like, well, what is this guy? If people are so terrified of him, if the government's so terrified of what he has to say, it must be something interesting and worth listening to.
So I have
go ahead.
I have kind of like one news event that I think is important to bring out. So Acapulco got hit with a Category 5 hurricane, 165 mile an hour winds. Imagine waking up. Imagine you live on the coast, like in Florida or something. You wake up one morning, and you don't check the weather most days. I mean, I know I don't. But let's suppose you did. You wake up one morning, you check the weather. There's a tropical storm, not even predicted to make landfall. It's gonna turn west. By lunchtime, it's become a hurricane, and you're like, yeah, but they still say it's probably not going to hit. By dinner time, if you're still paying attention, even this thing is now almost a Category 5 hurricane, and oh, now by the way, it's going to make landfall. At 9 p.m., you start realizing that you're fucked and that it's 165 mile an hour winds and that it's headed straight for you. So you've got a couple hours to prepare, but a lot of people didn't even know that was about to happen, and it destroyed that town. It completely annihilated Acapulco. Like the buildings are all stripped down to their metal girders, basically. Like everything's just gone. So you know, if you can donate, if you're in Mexico, look for a Centro de Acopio. It's like a place where you can give food and clothes and tennis shoes, stuff like that. Or if you want to donate money, you know, obviously be careful, you know, who you're donating to. There could, you know, there's gonna be scams out there. That happens every time. But there's probably trustworthy people, probably the TDV guys, the Acapulco guys, probably people associated with that are going to be doing good things. Just make sure, like, so for example, Danny Sessom, he's done a lot of charity work already. So anything that he's involved with, you can probably have a little bit of extra trust that they're going to spend the money wisely. And I've already seen on Twitter, like there's, you can donate Bitcoin, you can donate Monero. And then you can donate, you know, just like regular cash as well. So those guys need a lot of help. It's like media silence. I have my crazy conspiracy theories about what happened with that hurricane, or it's speculation. It's totally speculation, but that kind of shit shouldn't happen. That, like,
It was way
they
too
shouldn't
quick.
get a forecast that wrong. So I don't know, who knows what happened there, but there's like, they're not really reporting on it right now. So those guys need help. Acapulco needs help if you're able to.
If someone has a link to that fundraiser, can you put it in the description? Or not the script. That's for me to do. Can you put it in the comments?
Yeah. Let's get that out there. That's crazy. If anybody has you know, that's down there by any chance, because I know we have like an Acapulco people that tune into this. Please try to jump on later when we have viewers on stage. Let us know what's going on. Beautiful to see that they did raise some significant money though already with crypto. Monero in particular.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that.
Yeah, who did you say was doing that fundraiser? I guess the biggest
so
one?
the Acapulco associated people, I mean, I don't know. I've heard like a few different fundraisers. I haven't really looked into it. I mostly so far have just focused on sending supplies. You know, just went to a center, got everything I could, bought a bunch of stuff. You know, like things like baby formula, diapers, like that kind of stuff is really important for them right now. So, but yeah, I mean, I haven't donated any money yet, but as soon as I kind of look at which fundraisers are out there, you know, I'll probably choose one and go with that. Probably whatever Danny Sessom is associated with, I'll probably do that because he's already been doing charity work with an orphanage down in Acapulco. So
yeah, Danny,
I don't have a link.
If you're listening, please join, because he's been on the show a couple times. I know he tunes in. I forget what his Twitter thing is. Yeah, we could hit him up. Maybe he can jump on and let us know what's going on. But yeah, it's so bizarre, right? Yeah, I haven't been following the news much, but yeah, I didn't see it at all in the news. I saw it on Twitter after the event happened. Very bizarre.
Yeah, even here, we're like, oh, a hurricane hit Acapulco. We're like, oh, okay, yeah, that happens sometimes. So for like the first day, I just didn't think about it, and then we started getting like some reports, and then it was like, oh, that's a category 5. I'm like, oh, interesting, that's pretty powerful. And then suddenly it starts becoming clear to us about 24 hours later that you know, that no one expected it to hit, and that this thing in less than 12 hours, in the course of a day, went from a tropical storm to a category 5. That's the most powerful hurricane ever to make landfall on Mexican shores, and it's probably like in the top powerful hurricanes. Say again?
You think they'd be getting all over that, reporting it like crazy?
Yeah, I mean,
like I'm looking at the New York Times right now. I don't see it. It's not even in the New York Times.
I think they could use this so much for their global warming narrative that suddenly this tropical storm turned into a hurricane. It's because of global warming. Yet they're not.
That's a very good point. That's like a very salient point, actually, because these guys never miss an opportunity to take some weather disaster and blame it on global warming. Like so Canadian fires started because global warming. Like, are you kidding me?
All right, I'm seeing it here on New York Times, but yeah, it's you got to scroll down. It's not a top story yet in the eyes of the New York Times.
Yeah, I mean it's out there in the news, but you would expect like the most powerful hurricane to ever make landfall. Because usually, you know, when a hurricane starts to move in, like it starts to make landfall, it weakens a little bit. The wind, like the wind strength that was out in the ocean is not what actually hits, you know, once the eye wall finally hits land. In this case, this was like the most powerful winds that have ever hit land. It was very concentrated, and it hit like directly on Acapulco, like a direct
right. And usually, you're talking about it a week building up to it. Like this could be the biggest one ever to hit, and then
half the people
inevitably drops down to a category 2 and whatever. This ended up being the biggest one that ever hit, and nothing was discussed beforehand. crazy.
It's like the worst. Yeah, it's like the worst way it could have happened. It's like nobody was told to leave at all because it's like, oh, it's tropical storm, and then in the tiniest span of time where no one has any possibility of leaving, it just turns into the worst hurricane ever to hit land. It's like just it's something.
All right, well, Danny, if you're out there, you're listening, please like try to jump on later if you can. He's around.
Well,
all right, man.
Let's, I guess, pivot a little bit here into price. We got the Monero chart in front of us. You can see we're sort of at these upper standard deviation bands. So in terms of the way, wow,
Sorry.
in terms of the way the price has been playing out for really for most of this year, you kind of have to start suspecting: is this pump over? Did we get everything that's going to happen, or do we have another wave that potentially could be coming? Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the Bitcoin price. Because unfortunately, as you can see, if we look at Bitcoin versus Monero, we haven't exactly kept up, right? And we kind of talked about this in this area. We said, hey, I've got the hopeful delusion we can break to the upside and start moving up. But if we think that Bitcoin is going to turn positive here, that might not spell good things for the ratio. So, yeah, I mean, we're not doing great. 0.047 is not like the best ratio numbers that we've ever seen. At the same time, with the ETF and some of the news out there, and with the GBTC premium closing, although that's kind of that took a little bit of a hiatus for the past week. So you'll notice that GBTC premium has been closing, and then it actually went from -12 to -18. So this right here is not like the fact that this premium opened during the Bitcoin pump. That's a little bit that's a little bit shady to me. Like it's just a short amount of time, right? We're just talking from the past 7 or 8 days. But if this thing keeps going further, right? If this trend continues while price kind of like flattens up out here, that would kind of be an indication that this run might not have much legs, might kind of be over. You'll notice that I've kind of extended this line right here because this line is now relevant once again. But one thing I want to point out about the pattern of how things have played out here, it's like you get this big, massive pump, and then it kind of flattens out, and it tries to make a little higher high, and then dump, and then you get a big, massive pump, and then it kind of tries to makes a little higher high, and then it kind of bleeds out for months, and then a big pump, same thing, bleeds out, waits. Actually, this one had a little bit more momentum in the run up to it, and actually gave you an opportunity if you really wanted to try and take a long here. I personally wasn't biting, mostly because I said, hey, I've got my insurance plays, right? I had, I think it was Link, Tau, which is like this it's a brand new coin. But I've got Link, I've got Tau. I accidentally have some of the Mr. Richard Hart coin. I thought I sold and dumped that shit like 2 months ago or something. And then I just hadn't looked at that wallet in a long time. And I opened it up. I was like, wait, I sold this position. Maybe I had a reorg or something. I don't know. Cause I was like, I got the confirmation in my wallet. And then I was like, wait, so I thought, okay, good, it's done. And then I closed everything down and I didn't check it again. So maybe there was like a 1 block reorg or 2 block reorg or something like that. Anyway, so I looked and it's still there in my wallet. I'm like, God damn it. So, anyways, that position came back after like dying for a long time. By the way, don't buy that coin. It's probably going to die a lot. That coin is like a completely degenerate shitcoin speculative play when you think things might go up broadly. So, but yeah, don't be messing with that unless you're like okay with losing all of that money, and that's true of shitcoins in general. Okay, anyway, so yeah, I said, hey, I don't really, I'm not really interested in playing with fire here on this one. I don't know if it's going to go up or down. I'm not confident. I'm going to make sure I lock in my gains. I've got my insurance plays, and those have actually worked out pretty well. Link actually did quite a lot of good movement for me. We'll look at that here in a second. Anyways, so yeah, Bitcoin got a big, nice smash up, but again, it's the same pattern that we've seen for all year long, like since January. So right now, my concern is like, okay, we got this big smash up. We're sitting at this resistance area, and we're gonna kind of do this again, and then come back to the downside, right? I don't know. Like we really got to look at this. We really got to like, cross check. I mean, the safe thing, like, okay, long time frames, Bitcoin cryptocurrency is going to continue to move up. They're digital bearer assets with minimum viability. They're becoming more accepted in the world. They're becoming legally more accepted. You know, it's just a matter of time before this thing moves to the upside. So the safe thing here is that, you know, hopefully you got your, you know, if you're a hodler, if you're a DCAer, like this was your opportunity to be DCAing. That was where you wanted to do that, especially down here, right? We talked about that in real time. Said, hey, this is prime area for you to get your hodl. The other thing too is that you know, if we ever make it back down to the regression analysis, which I don't have pulled up here, I'm not going to waste time trying to find that right now. I can't remember if I have it on a chart or a separate indicator. Anyways, the regression analysis currently would be like 19,000. Who knows if we ever make it back that far? Typically, the way the pattern is played out on cryptocurrency and specifically Bitcoin is that you've got kind of like, you've got the recovery, it kind of falls. You've got, you know, basically into 2024 or what was 2020 last time, or 2016, you get kind of like one more big washout, you know, to the downside, and then the bull market commences. You know, do you really want to bet on this washout is actually going to happen? I don't know. Maybe you don't want to bet on that. Maybe you just say, hey, I'm not a trader. This is too much to worry about. So anyways, at the moment, yeah, broke out of this big triangle right here. And currently Bitcoin is just kind of like sitting at this resistance. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. I personally wouldn't be taking any big longs right here. I don't think that's a smart move. Your opportunity to take a big long would have been as this triangle was breaking right here, right? So as we kind of talked about on Saturday last week, that this thing was breaking, and once this thing kind of confirmed, like this would have been your opportunity, right? Say, okay, this triangle is basically confirmed a couple days outside of, you know, to the break on the upside, and then it moved directly up. So I wouldn't personally be taking any longs right here.
So if it retraces, where do you think it bottoms out again? Then, like, where's the?
I mean, on a short time frame, you would look at you would see this area right here. Probably, you know, this dotted line somewhere around there, maybe the top right here, right? So on a retrace, you would be looking at this area, like in the near term. On a more longer time frame, you've got this sort of area right here that was, you know, kind of resistance, then support. That was support right there. You would kind of be looking to come back down to this area, and then like on very long time frames, obviously the regression analysis. Let me see if I can pull it up. Anyways, maybe it'll pop up here for us. I think I've got another chart that actually just keeps this. Maybe I have a layout. No, I need to just make a layout that shows the regression. Okay, you can see the lines here on the bottom. This is the current regression analysis for the bottom. This is like, again, this is your sell everything, sell the farm, sell your car, loan your kidneys, you know, use them as collateral, and then and you know, buy. So this line would kind of move up something like that. That can't be right. No. Okay, this is not right because we're not looking at the correct chart. Let's go to BLX. That's the right way to look at this. There we go. Okay, because BLX has the full history. And we'll go to the weekly so that this thing looks a little bit better. So on the very, very long term, like the retrace, really the retrace that I would hope would happen, and I do expect should happen at some point, is to actually fully touch this red line down here. This line is like, now who knows? That could be like, for all we know, that could be like almost at the end of next year, right? We might only touch this line, and that could be at 32,000 because this thing actually rises pretty fast. So hopefully that answers your question. Those are kind of your short and your long-term spots to look for a retracement on Bitcoin. Maybe we should let's take a look at the dominance real quick. Bitcoin dominance. Yeah. So as we talked about last week, that, you know, things were kind of looking like they might want to break out in terms of wave magic, right? You've got the standard, the moving average cluster. This is the highest set of moving averages that exist for the chart. Oh, by the way, obviously turn your charts on to 1080p. Sometimes YouTube will default to like a 420 or 720p or something like that. Because you can't really see these lines so well when you're on low resolution. Even 1080p isn't quite enough, but you know, we use what we got. So anyways, yeah, when you touch this, like this, the moving average cluster here kind of pulled back, and then again it touched it here last week. Yeah, I mean, that's how you break resistance, right? That's how you like punch through a resistance. You touch it, you know, you have a little bit of a pullback consolidation, you kind of bump up against it again. So anyways, this thing did break out. Bitcoin dominance did break out. I don't have any opinions really on this chart, whether Bitcoin continues to break out or not. If the market is feeling bullish and has an appetite, then you can kind of expect that, altcoins might be able to perform a little bit better. Here's the ETH BTC chart that I had the reason last week that this wasn't showing up on the line, like the support line, was because I had it on regular scale. I don't know why. But anyways, you can see like there's a very long-term, let's go to the weekly. There's a very long-term support line really since like 2017. So right now, ETH BTC is kind of touching that line. It broke down from this triangle thing here, which kind of surprised me. I really expected this to just kind of trend down inside the triangle and eventually break up. But this line right here, that's a pretty important line. Like if Ethereum BTC breaks down that line in a convincing way, like that could spell problems for the ETH BTC price, and it might force me to take a revaluation of my sort of longer term view of Ethereum. But for now, like that's basically just support. Let's see. Let's go to some of the macro stuff. Dollar index hasn't done much. You'll notice that. So yeah, it broke down the this kind of like the midterm support line, sort of trend line on the way up. But again, you can also see as we've marked this line right here, the dotted line, that's being significant, right? That's a horizontal area of significance. That's kind of offering support for the dollar index. So for the meantime, dollar index looks like it's kind of taking a chill pill. Probably not going to go do too much for, like it could make its way, up here. I kind of like, from a chart perspective, you would expect to kind of get up to this area right here. And again, dollar index mostly being anti-correlated with risk assets in general, especially being anti-correlated with gold. You can also see you've got the long-term standard deviation bands. So I would expect dollar index to at least try to top out here in this area. Maybe it happens next month. Maybe it happens next year. That would also, again, be still correlated with like kind of problems in the stock market. So going over to stocks, pivoting here really quick, we're basically seeing this head and shoulder pattern that we've been talking about for really months now. Looks like it's basically about to finish playing out. So again, shoulder, head, shoulder, and then this white line, right? So we're basically taking the measurement from the top to the neckline and then dropping that down here at the breakdown. So effectively, prices basically made that target. Like effectively, okay, it hasn't like perfectly touched that target, but it's that as far as the S&P 500 is concerned, like that downside target has been met. So the head and shoulders is technically finished playing out here on the S&P, but that doesn't mean that it's done going down. Things can overperform to the downside, and right now it feels like very much a risk-off situation. People have moved into gold. Right, gold has become a big player. It's still like performing pretty well. Did pretty well this past week. This line right here, obviously that's resistance. Right now, gold looks like it's trying to, it closed the week just barely above it. If it closes another week above this line, expect to probably pump to the top side. At which point, I wouldn't expect gold to just immediately break out because, for a number of reasons, right? The cabal typically doesn't want gold to perform. If we've got some kind of recession and a really larger, like, what is this guy? So there's this guy named Francis Hunt. I watch his videos from time to time. I've learned quite a few things from him, actually, from a charting perspective. So he says that he calls it a demand destroying event, like the events of 2020 were a demand destroying event. So a demand destroying event sees gold get sold off with everything else. But apart from like demand destroying events, gold can often act as sort of a hedge or a risk off play in terms of like, okay, well, I'm afraid of the stock market. I'm going to go into either bonds or maybe gold or something like that. So anyways, the cabal doesn't like gold to pump. If there is a demand destroying event coming up, or if there is like some just broad like recession event happening, or that could be in progress, maybe sometime next year, gold is going to get sold off with it. So there's reasons to think that gold would cap out here once again. But for now, it looks like there's a good chance for it to make basically finish complete going to the top side here and then hit this resistance. You can kind of see we're starting to get a little bit short in the or long in the tooth here on this chart pattern. This thing should eventually break out, but we're on the monthly right now. So this right here is 2025. Here's 2024. So probably sometime next year, this chart is going to break to the upside. And that break of gold to the upside is probably going to signal that another risk on move is imminent, because that's typically how these things have played out for the past 2 decades. Gold pumps first, and then everything else pumps afterwards, and then gold languishes. So that's your play. Like, that's what you need to be. Like, I've got a big chunk of my net worth just sitting in gold. And if and when that breaks out, there will come a time for me to pivot that back into risk assets, which will probably be crypto of various sorts. Let's see. Let's take a look at the nothing happened with the yields. So basically, like we talked about last week, things came to the upside, and this yield curve inversion has closed somewhat. For the past week, not too much happened. Basically, just kind of flat. So nothing exciting going on there. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ also as well, because the NASDAQ is now getting back down to the bottom side of this channel. So you'll notice these dotted lines here. So the head and shoulder pattern on the NASDAQ, just like we did for the S&P, it still hasn't really quite made its made its target. You still got really, if this thing made its target, it'll break down from this channel. At a bare minimum, you can see this horizontal area of significance. That was the that was the 2022 rebound pump in August. That was the top of that pump. So that's really that's a very prominent place to expect the NASDAQ to at least try to make that target. The only thing that I would question my thesis on that is that the things are controlled. Like, the financials tend to be controlled and managed. And keeping things inside of this channel would be kind of like a nice sort of control mechanism, right? That'd be like a nice way to say, hey, don't worry, you're inside the chart channel. Don't sell your assets. Everybody stay inside of safe, warm, wonderful stocks. That's kind of like what the cabal tends to like to do. Although, except for occasionally, when things just like crash. So anyways, what I'm saying is that to meet this this support line right here, to meet this kind of to me, that's a natural area for price to be attracted back down to, especially because it got above that channel. You kind of think, well, maybe it needs to get below this channel. Anyways, so things will have to continue breaking down to meet that. Right now, with the dollar index flattening off, that maybe there could be some hope. But contrary to what I was just saying, actually, that's the S&P. Let's go to the NASDAQ again. So, all right, this is wave magic on the NASDAQ. The only difference is that this is the futures market for the NASDAQ, whereas we were looking at the actual NASDAQ. So this is CME, extended trading hours and such. So again, with the wave magic, this kind of action is very classic. As we talked about, you don't expect to just come from the bottom of the standard deviation bands, pump to the top, to the upper standard deviation bands, and then continue pumping. That's really typically not how things go. You typically need to, after you start, especially right here, after you break down out of these bands, you really expect to have to come down to some kind of area that should be support. So in a bullish scenario, you would meet support somewhere inside of this inside of these moving average clusters, and then come back to the upside. So if that happens, and that's probably honestly, unless we're going to see some kind of big demand destroying event, and again, the bonds should hopefully give us the advance warning that that's actually in progress. If that's not going to happen, then what you would really kind of expect is to come back down here, meet these standard deviation clusters, and then at some point next year, optimistically start getting back into that upper standard deviation cluster of bands, back up to the local highs, kind of like double top, and then start pressing on towards higher highs. That could be that very well could be the scenario that plays out here. With all the inflation, and everyone having a hard time, in some ways it kind of makes sense for for the Fed, for the government, whatever, to keep some of those stock market gains on the table, so that people don't feel like they're getting too poor, so they feel like, okay, stock market's still going up, my net worth is still doing okay, my retirement is still okay, even though inflation is bad, my retirement is also growing. Who knows who knows how badly they want to destroy the economy at any given point? Nobody really knows except for them. I don't think we have too much else to talk about. Let's take a look at some of the Z-scores really quick, just so you can kind of get a relative view of how the assets are performing. Again, Z-scores, they basically center everything at 0, and then you look at how many standard deviations away from the moving average is price right now. And when I say the moving average, right, you could choose a bunch of different moving averages. Right now, we got a 365-day look back. So basically, for the volatility, for the standard deviations of the past 365 days, we're looking at how price is performing relative to that time frame. And we could change that, right? We could look at shorter time frames, we could look at longer time frames, etc. So anyways, you can see crypto's been performing quite well. Stocks have been dipping, gold obviously pumping up, bonds have been just in the shitter because yields keep pumping. I'm not convinced necessarily that yields are gonna keep pumping on bonds, but I haven't really checked it out. Global liquidity situation. Let's see, US dollar liquidity in green, and then global liquidity in white. So global liquidity kind of still continuing to contract. Dollar liquidity continues to pump. Although we had a new number here on the M2 money supply. So new numbers came out. These things are like way far delayed. Like, let's see, this is for September 1st, right? This is dated September 1st. I think, I'm never quite sure. Is this the time frame of August or is this the time frame of September? I think this is the time frame of August. So this right here being 901 on the bottom, you can see September 1st. I think this was the M2 money supply for August. You can see that it dropped a little bit. I guess that would be about 100 billion. Looks like, yeah, that looks like a little less than 100 billion, maybe like 800 million. So it dropped off not much, but that's a slight contraction. All right, I think that's about it. Yeah, the divergences on Monero's price have started to they've been on the top side. In this case, it looks like Monero diverging up has been correlated with Monero's price moving up. But I've seen this be anti-correlated more than anything for a while now. I don't even know if we should even look at that. Like, I'm not sure how relevant that is anymore. So unless there's anything specific you guys wanted to take a look at, maybe I'll also show you one last thing here. In fact, two last things. I always say that's it. We're done, and then I always think of like one more thing. Okay, so this is again Monero versus stock. Sorry, not Monero. Bitcoin versus stocks continues to perform. You can see we've got the wave magic turned on here. I wouldn't expect this to get anything past these big standard deviation bands. Right, so these are very long-term bands right here, these upper standard deviation. It would not be surprising to see this thing continue to pump, for Bitcoin to continue to outperform stocks for another, let's just say, go back to this. How much percent? Why are my charts being slow? Maybe for another 10%, right? Maybe another 10% of outperformance. We could probably go to the weekly. That's actually going to take a moment to load. Oh, actually, that was pretty fast. Okay. Yeah, so you can see it just maybe a little bit better here with the weekly, like in a broader time frame. These, again, the big upper standard deviation bands. Right now, this thing has established itself pretty well. It found support at these lower standard deviation bands. Let's go to a 3-day chart so that it's a little bit better. I know this is messy. I apologize. My brain is used to looking at this, so it's not like anything too crazy for me. But what I want to pull out here is that you can see this lower standard deviation band cluster. Price found support down in there, and now it's moving up to a very solid area right here. I guess there's the possibility it could even move to the very top of those bands as well. But what I'm trying to say here is that overall, price has done a good job of establishing this range. So I wouldn't expect crypto to dump any harder relative to stocks. Again, always relative to stocks. I wouldn't expect it to dump any harder than this lower area right here. So let's suppose crypto takes a pullback and stocks make a comeback. That'll obviously reverse this chart, but effectively, this is a stable chart now. This thing should continue to be stable until the next bull market, at which point Bitcoin should again significantly outperform stocks in the next big risk on moment. And then I promise, double no take backsies. Dixie times gold tells us how well Dixie is performing, not divided by gold, but in terms of the fact that they're supposed to be anti-correlated, the reason that we're multiplying them together. Again, gold had this big fake out 2 weeks ago and then just came right back. So that is very much strength. Gold is strong right here. That doesn't mean that it has to give you gains next week. But again, gold continues to show this big, broad, pervasive strength, just across the way that it performs. So gold times Dixie is going to break out at some point. And again, that will likely correlate with just in general overperformance on the gold price. So that's all I got for you guys today. If there's any questions, let me know.
No. All good, man. All good. Fantastic as always.
Monero stablecoin making stable gains.
Yep. Who needs Tether when you got Monero?
Monero chugging along. Guys, we don't say
dirty even just saying that.
like and share the show, especially if you're viewing it on Twitter, because now they stream it live. We're streaming it live on Twitter, the video, which is cool.
Oh, nice.
And now Twitter puts it up on top where they used to put the spaces. So maybe we could attract some noobs. So if you're out there, you're watching this on Twitter, just please retweet it, get the word out. Thank you, Bawdy. Stick around if you can. A lot more ahead. If you can jump up later, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll try. I think I've got to take off here pretty soon.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. Thank you so much, man.
Cool, guys. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks as always, buddy.
Yep.
All right. Dev next.
Let's get it going.
And now for the Monero development segment.
Hey, what's up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
evening
Good
for
morning.
you.
Yep, nice. Let's talk about Monero Signer, I think.
Yeah, let's do it. Tell us all about it.
So I think we all know about Ledger and Trezor and why not to use those devices for Monero. Basically because Ledger, with its recent tragedy, they can now see your seed phrase in 3 parts. So that's basically avoids the main point of using a hardware wallet. And with Trezor,
I haven't been following that closely. What was the news that actually broke on that? So they actually
they basically implemented a feature that you can use a 3-way seed phrase recovery. That they send the seed to 3 different companies of their choosing, and to recover the wallet, you can ask them to send the seed phrase to you. But if they can do that, they can extract it for their own too. Like, the basic mechanism was that you cannot extract the seed with any way because it's a hardware wallet, and they can do that now. So that basically voids the main feature of it. Trezor can do the same, but they are less likely to do it because it's open source, so everyone can choose whether they want to buy it or not.
Crazy.
But with Monero Signer, it's not another company that's managing your device, but your own self. So
it's a true hardware while open source way to store your private keys without having any third parties involved.
So basically, it's Monero only, not like Seed Signer, which can support Bitcoin. For Seed Signer, I think there are several other firmwares that you can install. Several other add-ons that you can install, so you can get other coins on it too. This is Monero only, and it uses the portal Monero QR to transfer transactions, and it's completely air-gapped, meaning that there is no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth in it, unless you use the wireless Pi0 that they are suggesting not to use, but it can be that, although you have to disable the wireless feature completely for it to not being interceptable. You need to have a wave share, 1.3 LCD display with 240 by.
Yep.
Sorry, 1 sec.
No worries. I think he's being interrupted over there.
Nope.
Yeah, kinda. Okay, so you need to have a WaveShare 1.3 LCD head with 240 by 240 pixels, and basically any eye camera, but the Monero Signer guys recommend the main Pi camera that Raspberry is advertising as just the Raspberry Pi camera, and of course a case which you can print on your own or maybe buy it from Monerotopia store.
Awesome.
the risks of using vendor-specific devices over DIY is vendor locks. So if the company goes out of business, then you won't be able to implement new firmwares on it. For example, Ledger, they are using non-open source firmware, so that's basically a dead device from them. And the supply chain, which of course compromises your security if the hardware wallet is intercepted, or as I said, Ledger implemented the feature where they can export your private key / seed phrase. The sourcing components, what is a vendor can't find their parts, or the factory. For example, when you buy a Ledger or Trezor and it needs to be used with a warranty. I've had a friend, I think, buy a keyboard and motherboard, and it went up in value over time because inflation, and he needed to use the warranty on it. The company said that they can't replace it as they have no more on supply and they have no other parts, so he needed to buy it from a different store with the money they gave back because they cannot replace it. So they gave back the money that he originally bought it for. So he's losing money on that. And of course, the politics and geopolitics risk. The privacy, as I said, usually with Monero and every other crypto, you usually need to use an air-gapped device for it to not being able to be intercepted.
All right. So so people fully understand how this thing functions. Like, so can you just kind of give us an overview of that? Like, if somebody were to use this, how does it work? How does it function?
So basically, here's an assembly video.
Oh, this is how you're actually building one. Okay.
Yeah, so here's the Pi0, the buttons he got from Monero at the time. Well, he's Monero at the time. And the LCD share hats, so it can be used. So basically, you need, with the Pi0, you need to have a version that comes with the pins, or you need to solder it on yourself because here you can see that the Pi0 attaches the Waveshare display by pins. So you basically get the case or print it, and you use the screws, which I think they specify on their website.
So, but like you said, so you could build this yourself, or you can buy one that's pre-built, right?
Yes.
But I'm saying, how does it actually, for those that don't even understand how a
Yeah, so basically it has a Python firmware, if I know correctly, and it's basically a seed signer just with the change that it only supports Monero instead of Bitcoin.
Right. So you would use this to generate your seed on it, right?
Yes, and it sends transactions by QR codes. So
it looks like the Monero signer, they have a store at monerotime.store.
Yes,
cool. I knew he was working on this. I didn't realize how close to completion he was, and that he's actually, I guess, selling it now.
Yeah, so they are selling, I think, metal cases. Yeah, steel 316L cases, and
I guess this is like a pre-order
seed phrase storage, and I think it's already orderable in normal.
That's cool. I didn't realize he already had this out.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I don't think he pushed it.
Yeah, I think you need to contact them. Yeah, you need to contact them now, but I think maybe a month from now, and you.
If you select color and choose the options, it gives.
Oh yeah, you can already order it. Nice.
So what's involved in building it yourself? He'll send you the parts.
No. So with building it, you need to buy the parts on your own, which you are able to buy on either here, I think.
Well, you can buy just the enclosure. It looks like based on what I see on the store.
On the Monero Time store, you can only buy the full thing, and
well, no, I see 3 options. If you click on
the enclosure, the full thing, and in the kit.
So if you wanted to like put together yourself, you'd buy the kit, right? If you wanted all the parts from them.
Yeah, and you can only buy the enclosure, of course. But if you want to give yourself a hard time, you can go on Seed Signer and just and just buy the parts separately from every separate site that they are including here, I think. Nope, not here.
Very, very cool. Well, so what do you guys think of, building it yourself versus buying one that's pre-built?
I think when you're building it yourself, you are sure that nothing else is assembled with it. Of course, with Monero that time they are trustable, but if you want extra trust, you can build it yourself.
Unless that third party is compromised as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to
like truly open sourced hardware is
that's
very hard.
They are
difficult, right?
Yeah, and of course, if you buy it yourself, you'll need to buy the Pi Zero with the GPIO pins installed, or you need to have a soldering station for it.
How much selling the pre-built ones for? The already built?
1 second, the assembled ones with the aluminum, I think. Let me see.
0.742 XMR.
Okay.
Also, basically ready to go.
Wow.
Yeah, 0.74.
Or you can buy it as a kit and do the put it together yourself, kind of like a framework, where you can buy a framework DIY for 0.619.
In my opinion,
soldering.
In my opinion, if someone has a 3D printer, I'd recommend buying the parts separately from a different supplier, because if you see XMR to USD, then that's 160 USD. For example, for Pi Zero,
the Monero price. It's like it gave you the chart of Monero, not the actual.
Of course. So currently, sorry, 120. So basically, you'd profit maybe 20 or 30 bucks on it if you buy it separately from another website. Of course, now, if you want to donate, then I'd recommend buying it from Monero at the time.
So how would you use this alongside something like Monero or Cake? I mean, Cake obviously holds, store your keys on the device. Monero, I know they were working on the side.
You mean backing up your coins from Cake, maybe?
Yeah, keeping your seed separate on this device as opposed to.
So basically, wallets have QR codes, and the way it has this camera in there. So basically, you scan the QR code that the Cake wallet gives you to. No, sorry, you want to send the Monero here. So basically, with the Cake phone, you scan the QR code that's displayed on the display here, and you send it there. Of course, when you are sending XMR from here, you need to have some kind of wireless or wired connection. But the way it works is you scan the QR code with this little camera, and it gives you the only send signature for that transaction, which you're going to need to scan on a computer.
Yeah, someone said, what are you signing? Tux, can you try to explain this a little better? For complete noobs?
About the how the signer works. It's
so people are used to using Cake, which has their or Monero, which has their keys stored on the device. They want to make a payment. They scan a QR code. They send their Monero. how would this, how does the seed signer differentiate?
So the signer generates the TXs locally, basically, and use a series of QR codes sending back and forth between the signer and the well, the signer doesn't have a camera on it, does it? I'm thinking about I'm thinking about how the Monero works.
No, seed signer has a camera too.
Oh, okay, so it is like that, where each device generates QR codes back and forth to
Yeah,
transfer data. So instead of using, like he said, using Bluetooth or connecting to USB or using Wi-Fi, each device will, like the seed signer, will generate QR codes that get scanned from your device using whatever app will work with the Monero signer to work with that, and then your phone will generate QR codes so that the internet required information like node fees and confirmations to nodes will come from your phone, and you can scan that on your seed signer. So it's just an actual air-gapped way to do transactions.
So basically you are scanning QR codes back to back to back from device to device. That way you can send a transaction. So
do we know are any apps working with this? Would Monerotopia or Cake function with this at this point?
I think Monerotopia has support for this, but maybe not quite yet. I know they were working on it. Do you know if they do, Comrade?
I think they do, but
I know Cake Wallet does not have support for that yet. You might be able to use Monero Wallet with it, because Monero Wallet already requires two separate.
Yeah, Monero should be able to use it. These wallets have two, but I think they are only Bitcoin wallets. Maybe not.
Yes, I'm just trying to understand how this would interact with the Monero wallet.
So
so basically, I'm sure you remember when we had some people on talk about Monero. It basically works like that.
All right, so
but with a dedicated hardware instead of using an
basically,
old Pixel phone.
Basically, the DIY wallet, the Monero signer, gives a QR code which contains the signature signing, and the phone scans it, sends it to the blockchain, and sends back the report that the amount has been sent, and you scan back it onto the Monero signer to be sure to check it.
Right. All right. Yeah, it'd be great to have what's the guy's name? Monero Time jump on at some point, but I know he doesn't. I don't think he speaks English too well.
Yeah, we talked about that.
All right. Very, very cool, man. So exciting. We'll continue to keep an eye on the project. Like I said, I'm just a little unsure of how, does it, obviously, I don't think you could use it yet with Cake Wallet, right? I don't think you can use it yet.
No, not yet,
but maybe, I guess
maybe Vic sees this.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
And has the team to make it work.
Awesome. All right, programming guy. I hope that helps. I don't. Can you not trust a seed generated by Cake? No, you can't. Programming guy is saying, I don't get the point of this. Are you saying that you cannot trust a seed generated by Cake?
No. So Cake Wallet doesn't have a feature currently implemented with Monero or Seed Signer. So as Seed Signer and Monero Signer works, you generate the thing that needs to be signed by the seed signer or the Monero signer on the phone, and you scan it with the Monero signer. You get a QR code back with it that it has been signed, and you scan it again with the phone to send it to the blockchain to confirm that this has been signed. We can send the transaction now from that wallet to the other.
Yeah, so the internet connected device will be doing most of the work, but you're using hardware wallet to sign because it's what actually has the actual keys to sign on it. So that's just the point of it.
So programming guy, there's nothing wrong with Cake or Monerotopia using those apps to hold your Monero and use Monero, and the keys are generated on those devices, which is fine. But something like this, moving towards in this direction, allows you to generate the keys offline on this device And then whenever you go to spend or use your Monero, you're signing it from this device, which is air gap. So it's just added security.
Yeah,
Cake and Monero are, you know, apps that are on your phone that are connected to the internet. Very secure, but if you want added security, you could even go so far as keeping your private seed, your keys off of those devices on this separate piece of hardware that never touches the internet. You guys gotta remember that there's noobs out there who just don't understand this stuff at all. That's what we're trying to explain.
Yeah. Val is saying, but it's Wi-Fi on it. I'm probably guessing you are speaking about the phone. Yeah, it's Wi-Fi on it, but the signing that the Monero signer sends with a QR code to the phone is only a one-time transaction. So if your phone were compromised, then you'd be only using that one-time transaction, not the whole wallet. Pi0, no, Pi0 doesn't have Wi-Fi. The wireless one has it, but you can disable it permanently.
You know, man. So the software on the phone doesn't have the seed. Yeah, in this instance,
exactly.
If Cake were to add this functionality, you could have a scenario where you have your seed for your wallet stored on this offline device that then communicates with your Cake app as needed when you're sending transactions.
So basically, if you want to get a Pi0, you need to look for one that doesn't have this chip here, because this is the Wi-Fi chip. If it doesn't have it, then you have no wireless. If it has it, and you already have it, you need to disable it permanently, which Seed Signer has a guide on it. On how to.
All right, man. Very good. Very good. Thank you so much. We'll continue to talk about these things. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. You got some more to say here. Monero stats.
Yeah, so basically the stats, we've increased by approximately 5,000 in block height. Said that the hash rate is dropping almost. Yeah. So, I mean, last week it was 2.7. Before that it was 3.3. Before that it was 3.5. I don't know what's happening with my miners currently, but we are dropping fast. The transactions, we have a nice little increase by not almost 3,000 here.
Oh,
and
nice.
with the Monero node count, that's problematic still, because Monero.file doesn't provide normal information, I think. So I will try to contact them if we can and see if it can be resolved.
Right. We'll leave it at that, and we're about to talk about nodes in a big way here, so we'll continue it. We'll segue to that. Thank you so much, Comrade. Awesome.
Of course. Anytime.
Yeah, just a reminder, everybody, Comrade is only like 15 years old. I think he's doing an amazing job learning this stuff each week and coming out here to report it. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I thank you to have this opportunity to learn and give learning information.
Sweet.
Yeah, thanks for showing the signer. That's awesome.
Yep, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it more as things progress.
All right, jumping into guest.
Let's do it.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
All right.
Hello.
Brindel, what's going on, man? Abdullah, how's it going?
It's going well. Going fine. What about you?
Good. Yeah, I know we spoke yesterday, but I guess we should pretend we didn't, right?
Yeah,
hey.
no, it's been a while.
Thanks for doing this, guys. I wanted to bring you guys on just so we could give an update to the community on where we're at with the Nodo. I've been running this banner on the bottom of the show for the last couple of months. We talk about it all the time, but I think people were getting a little worried that it was becoming a stagnant or failing project. That is not the case at all. It's taking longer than expected. We could get into some of the reasons that is the case, but we've taken advantage of the delays, and we've used that time to actually add features to the Nodo based on what people have been saying, tweeting out, things like that. So that's why I wanted to bring you guys on. So thank you for jumping on today, guys.
Of course.
Abdullah, I don't know, maybe you want to take it away and kind of give us the overview of where we're at with the Nodo project.
Sure thing. Happy to be here and dive in. I know it's been overdue, but like you said, it's been a worthwhile wait. We've kind of added a bunch of new features and design elements as well. And so the highlights essentially are we've kind of discarded the old display, and we're going to go with a high resolution OLED display, as well as for Nodo. There was a limitation for the SSD, so initially we had announced that we'd go with the latest Gen 4 SSD drives, but the CPU is just about able to take in a maximum of Gen 3 speed. So as an effect of that, we've been able to upgrade Nodo to a default of 2 terabytes of storage, which enables many more years of blockchain support, and of course a lot more versatility out of the box. And yep, a few other things on the software end. Perhaps Brindel, you want to chip in things like mining? We've kind of done it in a ways that we've limited the cores so that when you are mining on it, on the device, it's not going to take resources away from node functionality. And that was important to us, that the thing we designed Nodo to be is to be a node first and foremost. And so...
yes, exactly. We've added mining without actually taking away like performance and functionality. We opted for using P2 pool by default, so we're hoping to at least help with increasing the percentage of P2 pool users. And we're using XMR rig, of course, as the miner, with some simple interface of enabling or disabling mining if you want, and adding an address for mining rewards. So.
Right. So now it's not only just a plug and play node; it's a plug and play miner as well.
Exactly. Yes.
That makes it super easy to mine in the most ideal way, which is via P2 pool.
Yes.
So you're not sacrificing your hash power to a pool that then controls your essentially your voting power.
Exactly, and we're making sure that it's easy to do.
How good is the mining performance? Because I noticed you guys are using, which is cool, the Rock Chip 3588, which the Orange Pi uses, which is 8 ARM cores, which is like that's pretty awesome. But I imagine it's probably not super powerful for mining because it's pretty low powered still, even though it's decent amount better than the Raspberry Pi 5.
Yes, I think that's important to point out that this isn't really a dedicated mining machine. It just so happens to have a very small hash rate, and the effect on the network is likely to be, well, collectively it might be measurable, but individually I don't think it's going to have, apart from having a contribution kind of impact, I mean, it's just your box standard P2 pool, except that we've limited the cores to on top of, so it's not actually going to be using all of the cores to mine, so that further limits the hash rate. And so at this point, it's kind of, I guess, more of a feel-good thing, but in the long run,
I mean, every little bit helps, of course, right?
Yeah, I mean, Howard Chu is mining Monero on his
car stereo, yeah,
car radio, right?
Yeah.
Mining
here we are. We're providing people these plug-and-play devices, which is first and foremost a node, a very easy way to run a full dedicated node that then you can then rely on as a user to use Monero in the most secure and private way possible, right? So you can easily link up your Cake wallet or your Monero to use this home node that you're running, right?
Exactly.
And that's the most secure way to use Monero.
And you basically don't even have to think about it, right?
Right. You don't have to think about it, and you're also, not only are you adding security and privacy to the way you personally use Monero, but you're adding security to the network by providing another node for other users to rely on. And so it just makes it super simple to get that up and running. And we think that's really the value proposition of the Nodo, to put a musket in everybody's home, a way to reliably run a node, and it makes it much more difficult to essentially shut down the network and stop people from using Monero if you have nodes running all over the world. So we're trying to solve that problem first and foremost. But if we're going to have these boxes sitting on everybody's desks or in their homes, we're thinking, and this has always been the thought, what else can we add to it that can contribute to the goal of helping Monero? So why not have it also mining Monero in the background? Is it built to be an ideal miner? Absolutely not. There's much better ways to mine Monero. Building some kind of CPU or getting certain chips that would do that better. But why not run it in the background as long as it's not degrading your node in any way? So
exactly,
that's what Abdullah and Brindel have figured out, a way to simply add P2 pool mining, have it mining in the background where it's not over time destroying the hardware in any way that's dedicated towards running the node full time.
Yeah, and you should look at the scale of things too, right? Because it's not just one Nodo that's mining. We'll probably have dozens, if not hundreds. That would be nice, all mining, all contributing to P2 pool. So.
And it's silly, right? If we're talking about having your refrigerator potentially mine Monero one day, why wouldn't your node mine it, right? Why wouldn't your Monero?
Yeah, and like 10,000 people buy that, even though it's very little. That's 10,000 more individual miners that are helping to centralize the network.
Right.
Exactly.
And now we have some other things as well. So we've Abdul, I'm sorry, I was reading comments. I might have missed. I don't know if you mentioned it, but the larger screen. Did you get into that yet? Did you mention that?
Yep. I do have a couple of renders, very basic design concept level. But yeah, I could probably just
see if you could show that. So this other major improvement was we upgraded the screen on the Nodo, making it. The reason we did that is because, once again, if these things are going to be sitting on your desk, we want them to be as usable as possible. So now the screen becomes something that you can look at, like an old school clock sitting on your desk, and it will be streaming Monero related content, kind of in a carousel way.
Sort of like a screensaver slideshow kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Showing the latest Monero news. So we're tapping into RSS feeds. Brindel, I don't know if you want to explain how the functionality of what that's going to look like. We're calling it Monero news.
We're still kind of like the design of the news is still a little bit up in the air, but what we're looking at is probably like taking the news feed of curated news feeds like getmonero.org, Review Monero, to name a few, Monero Observer maybe, taking like an image from the news as like a background with a nice headline as the title of the news, and you can scroll with your finger to read the description and everything, and you can swipe left and right for other articles. And we might also add like other interesting news, like the current price or the current hash rate, the current transaction count, that kind of stuff. So you get like kind of like a live overview of what's going on in Monero land, so to speak.
Wow, so is that the updated design on the left?
Yeah, on the left, yes.
Oh wow, that's a very big difference.
Yeah.
So much bigger screen. We're figuring because we were talking about all these things we wanted to do, and we're like, well, why are we trying to do it with this smaller screen?
That's going to replace my iPad. I'm just going to carry that around with me.
That being said, this thing isn't meant to be super interactive, right? You're not like going to be using it to really browse the internet. But as it's sitting there on your desk, you can look at it, or hanging on your wall. We're going to make it, make it easy to potentially, hang it on your wall if you want. It will just show Monero stats. So there'll be little check boxes where you'll be able to say, all right, I want to get Monero stat related information. I want to get Monero daily news related information, whatever it is. And then that will be coming across your Monero node on a daily basis as it's running a dedicated node and as it's in the background mining Monero via P2 pool. So that is the current direction of the Nodo. Brindel, am I leaving anything out there?
No, you're definitely not. That's the idea.
I'm assuming that it's just going to be running something like Debian, and you guys have some custom software that boots up an interface to give you operations and things you can do, like you talked about the news and being able
That's
to
exactly
turn
right.
things
Yes.
off with the cool. That's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
awesome.
We just plan to. I just want to point out a few of the kind of major changes here. Of course, the newer one on the bottom. This just to show off the difference in size compared to the old display, which was a 2.8 inch, and of course very limited resolution as well. So it was basically just to get a very bog standard and I would say cramped version of the user interface, the settings. But now we've got a 5.5 inch, and this one's in OLED, not a TFT. So it's going to be really sharp and give that perfect contrast ratio for images, and also the interface when we get that plugged in. And overall, the dimensions haven't changed all that much. It's more of an effect of filling out the edges or the top bezel in the previous one. So yeah, the overall dimensions are going to be slightly larger, but the thickness is the same, and yeah, just kind of a little bit recessed the display inside, and of course, when you kind of sit it up vertically on the bottom face, in this case, so it can nicely hang, and that ties in nicely with the news, or rather the carousel feature, the slideshow feature, which on the back end we thought that RSS would be sufficiently lightweight and also content rich to be able to deliver a nicely curated feed of Monero related highlights. While it's not showing you your settings and your mining and stats.
Yeah, so like a screensaver, right? So when you're not using it, you got a little like something going on in the background, and of course,
Right.
there's also going to be the option to turn it off if you don't like it. Like it's all optional.
Yep, and
Also,
the resolution also supports that. So this is a full HD, so a 1920 by 1080 resolution, so a full HD resolution display. And yeah, we're using.
And is OLED?
It's OLED, yes.
Yes, it's an
Very
OLED.
nice, very nice.
That was important too, because I'm not sure if I should get into that, but traditionally displays have more power efficient, and also the blacks are perfect blacks. That in that OLED have this ability to switch off individual pixels, and so when you're looking at a black screen, it definitely is black. You don't have this sheen of backlight, which traditional TFT displays had, and that was kind of the challenge to get the display to fit, and also the connections on the back end. So we had to kind of go back with the chipset and modify the socket that this higher resolution would need to support. So we needed, not to get too technical, but a MIPI interface. That's an MIPI, and that runs over kind of an HDMI interface internally. And so, yep, it really is a significant user experience difference in not just accessibility for your functionality, being able to modify and the keyboard entering your address and things on the fly, but also for usability purposes, we're able to fit in new kinds of features.
Yeah.
Kind
So-
of further value add on top of what it does automatically in the background. And
Yeah, so you can access settings through the browser, but you can also do it through the screen if you quickly want to change whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes,
Any
yeah.
Android user will appreciate that it's OLED. And what kind
Yeah,
of
it's a huge improvement.
like what are you guys using to build the custom software? Is it like some management UI? Are you gonna use something that already exists?
We're gonna
You want
offer
to bring up? Yeah, bring it up.
Sihan is the guy that's building it. We don't have him on right now, sadly. But from
we're going to use Qt.
Yeah, Qt.
is an
Okay.
open source interface framework that we're sufficiently happy with, that can kind of
so
plug everything in, including our.
You want to share the web UI? We could show that.
I think Abdullah has that ready.
Okay.
Sure. We'll just.
Also,
Just a
real quick,
moment.
I saw a comment that you can also do this with a Pi, which is true. I mean, you've got Pi Node XMR, for example. But
This is
the
a lot more
hardware
powerful than a Pi.
Yeah, the hardware that we're using, it's a single board computer that is one of the few, as far as I know, that has hardware AES support, so hardware encryption support, which greatly increases the performance of Monero.
I should also point out here, sorry to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
regarding mining was originally part and still is part of Pi Node XMR. And so what we've just kind of reintroduced it and tweaked it a little bit for just so that it fits in with our interface. I think Pi Node also added a really neat feature as well, which we're not going with, the atomic swaps, just for many reasons. We can get into those, but just since Pi Node came up, I thought I'd mention that
Right,
as well.
yeah.
We'll note that the new Raspberry Pi 5 also does support AES. It has a Rock chip that's similar to the Nodo one, but the Nodo one is still way more powerful because it's literally got double the cores. And what
there
board
you
are
go.
you guys using? Is it like an Orange Pi, or is it even more custom one? Because I notice the Orange Pis use that exact Rock chip, and they have 2.5 gig LANs.
The processor is the same, and the RAM is the same. We've got 16 gigabytes of it, and but yeah, everything else is pure custom. The PCB, the
So you actually
input
worked
output.
with some vendor to get
Yes.
these from like China or something?
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is part of the
yeah.
reason for the delay.
That's super awesome. To people who don't understand, that's like a huge value is that they went
Yeah.
through and
It's kind of
really
a big deal.
tweaked
It's
a
exactly
lot of
what you
work.
get for this. That's like very time consuming and costly.
Add an
Right.
India
Yeah,
connection to these.
this isn't off the shelf stuff that we're just putting into a box. Abdullah's worked on this for, I think we're approaching like 2 years now. And Brindel's been helping out for I think at least a year now. And
Close to a year, yes.
yeah, we had Arctic Mind consult us at portions of this to help come up with the most ideal design, and then Abdullah's been working with, we call him Charlie, working with Charlie, who's our guy who communicates with China to essentially get these things custom made and fabricated designed for the purposes of best running a Monero node plug and play device. So yeah, this
Keeping that in mind, this is a really, really good value because like if you compare this to, especially with it comes with this big, massive screen on it, especially when you compare it to there's a lot of companies that make easy home lab hardware like Umbrel Start 9, and they sell some interesting products, but they're either same price with much worse hardware, or they're way more expensive with
I've seen that
same
too.
or less hardware. So this is actually a really good value. And the one potential downside, if you you want to run a bunch of stuff on it, is that it's ARM. But there's a lot of things that support ARM now, and ARM is much more efficient. So this will be good for people who are in countries where electricity is very expensive. This is going to be extremely cheap to run.
Yep, very power efficient, and the display ties into that. Or being OLED, it's not going to take a lot of energy to run. With the limited pixels it has to render, and all power goes in through USB-C, which means it's very easy to plug in, and the connection is not this big bulky barrel jack. I think we went over this previously, but I think bears mentioning again. just because of the sheer complexity of all the parts working together. Because not only do we have the SSD, but there's eMMC storage on board that kind of maintains the ability to run our recovery process in case things go wrong.
Yeah, the blockchain, the SSD is used entirely for the blockchain. So if there's something wrong, you can easily purge it, or you can run like a few file system checks, etc.
Yeah, I mean, big deal that it's not PCIe 4.0. 3.0 for this is like it's probably, way more than good enough for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I appreciate the fact that there's a 2.5 gig LAN, because a lot of things come with that now. So I've been moving my entire infrastructure over to 2.5 and 5 and 10 gig.
Right. Essentially, the specification is something that Francisco and I worked on, as well as, and then it kind of goes back and forth with, I would say, schematic and fabrication teams, and that's where where the really nuts and bolts really come in, but we're excited because there is truly nothing that exists on the market with this unique specification. And honestly, the display is something that we're doing. But the chipset in itself, without the display, it can work perfectly well from a command line as well. And this is just something we're doing for the added convenience. And I hope that'll, kind of
and
value add a little bit and make it easier
also
to use.
For the more tech savvy, it's possible to just flash your own Linux on it and use it for literally anything you want. Like it's not locked down to running Monero D and nothing else. You can you can do whatever with it. So
like if you want a free and open source,
you're buying
iPad.
a computer basically.
That's a block.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess technically you could use it like that if you wanted to.
You could probably kill someone with it if you throw it hard enough. Yeah, but that's not what it's advertised for.
Just don't throw it at me. Abdullah, you want to show the web UI?
No, it's not about the Monero seed song. So I was reading the chat. My bad.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, we can not much change there.
Yeah,
but we can go over that again.
There's a few extra menus and a bit more.
Yeah, if you just bring it up, people may be seeing this for the first time. If you just bring it up. Yeah.
Okay,
it's very simple. Basically, you can set custom what's it called, peers.
Wait, I don't see it. Were you able to bring it up?
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Well, I've got some old ones. Of course, we've since refined a bit further, but
yeah, this actually changed quite a bit. It's been a lot more.
I think I have one with price sticker as well. Yep, there it is. So this is, of course, this is the web on the web, and this is just a screen grab and kind of a mock-up, because on the right you could probably see the new price sticker, which is going to be fixed on the primary menu and date and time, and then on the top we have the primary menu, all the
can you zoom in a little bit?
Sure, yeah, let me try.
There you go. Yeah, it's much better. Yeah, so at the top, what's missing right now is, of course, the miner tab for changing the miner settings. Here you can change the clearnet. You can get the local IP, which it'll show automatically. At the bottom, I know it shows a little connection error that's on my end, but basically that's where it will show the QR code, so you can scan it with your wallet and it'll add the node, which currently Cake Wallet supports.
This little box over here on the bottom.
Yeah, that would be the QR
code.
Your
QR code. So if you want to quick connect with your wallet, that's the way to do it. And
you can turn on Tor connections, so people can connect to the wallet via a Tor onion link. You can also set it so that the device entirely works over Tor for people who want a little bit more privacy.
And I2P, awesome.
There's also I2P support, yes. So you could connect to the node via I2P. From what I know, the performance is not amazing, but there's definitely people that would want something like this. Me included.
Yeah, Brindel, if you want to just keep explaining the menu items, just so.
Yeah, so basically this is partly information for if you want to connect, and partly you can add a peer, like another wallet, or sorry, another node that runs on I2P. You can add it here as a peer, and it'll use that as like a primary connection to get blockchain info. Same thing with Tor, same thing with ClearNet. And again, the box at the bottom left is for a little QR code would show there that you can scan with your wallet to set it to the Nodo.
We might just switch that out with a button. So you press the button and then the QR code shows up, because it may be potential.
Well, yeah, the idea is you've got this open on your laptop, on your computer, and you can scan it with your phone. So that was the workflow.
Right, and then you instantly have your
your
wallet on your phone now connected to the node that you're running on your Nodo.
Yes. Can you go to the node tab? I don't know if you have a screenshot of that.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So here you can set it to a private node if you want to, so that only you and friends can connect to it. The port here isn't showing. That's old screenshot, but it still applies. You can set the primary port for RPC connections. You can also disable private node if you want to just let anybody connect. You can set bandwidth throttling if you want. And then the device tab. Here you can set Wi-Fi settings so it can connect to your home network. Ethernet settings if you so wish.
We thought it might be important to have manual settings if you need them. Some people do, and so it's there if you need it, and you just
I think
turn off automatic, and these grayed out fields would turn editable.
Yeah, if you turn off automatic, you can set these settings yourself.
Awesome.
This was I think an idea of ArcticMine to add that, and of course you can recover the blockchain if something went wrong. If something isn't working, you can just hit recovery. You can also restart the node or shut it down, just for convenience. There's also a button on the thing, of course, but and then
we might add a few more things here, like ability to modify your feeds in the news feed and things of
yes,
this nature.
the news thing is also not shown here.
A software updater.
Updating is done automatically, which we might make it manual, but I thought auto updates would be the easiest. Which probably also an important detail. It'll build MoneroD and all the other components from source, so that it is actually
that's
built
awesome.
for the ARM. Yeah, I thought that was a good idea.
How will the updates for the custom interface and the web app come in? Is that just going to come on through the standard package manager, or like?
No, it runs partially on Python, but those are also updated automatically. The source itself for the web UI and the installer scripts and everything is also on GitHub, so it'll also pull them from that repo.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah. Another thing that we haven't yet mentioned is the Light Wallet server, which is now also completely functional. You can change, for Light Wallets, you can request your account, your wallet being added. You can handle all the requests here. You can activate them, deactivate them. It'll show the scan height for that wallet. You can also delete it if you so wish, or you can manually add an account if that's easier for you.
Yeah, we should just quickly explain what for people noobs, they even understand what a light wallet is versus just how they're traditionally perhaps using.
So
Monero.
The idea of a light wallet is that you basically sacrifice your view key. Like my Monero, for example, is one that does it. You sacrifice your view key so that a service can constantly scan for new blocks that are related to your wallet for you. This by itself has some privacy implications because, of course, that service can then see your incoming transactions and can also, I believe, semi-reliably determine outgoing transactions. So there's some privacy implications there. So our idea was like, hey, you have a node anyway. Why not run the Light Wallet server on there so that it's under your own control?
Okay, that's awesome.
And so when you're out and about and you got the Light Wallet on your phone, you'll always instantly have your balance and the ability to spend. So you don't have to stand at the counter waiting 10 minutes for the remaining 500 blocks and awkwardly looking behind you. So that's the idea of adding.
Yeah, this is one of the things we were most excited about initially with the Nodo, right? So you're not just running a reliable, dedicated node, but now it's also acting as this light wallet server for noobs, right? So
Yes.
like this has always been possible. More advanced users were able to figure this out, do it on their own. But now you can be a
It was
complete
part of
noob. All you need to do is figure out how to, add your view key to the Nodo and submit it.
That's cool. I've been
It's
meaning
a
to
simple
try
setting
out
in my
all
Monero
the
itself. You
device.
can change the URL to the light wallet server in my Monero to be the IP of the Nodo device, and you're set.
Right,
Is
and now
Monero
whenever you open up that My Monero wallet, it's going to be instantaneous, right?
Yeah, it'll
You're
take
not-
like 3 seconds, and boom, you've got your balance. Yes.
Is Monero the only wallet that currently supports light
As
wallet?
far as I know, it's the only wallet, but I'm pretty sure there should be more.
No,
My
there's
Monero is
what's the other one? Is it Exit? No, I forget the
Edge, maybe Edge wallet.
Edge.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, those two at least. There's probably more. I wish Monero would support it, but I don't.
Yeah,
think
I think we'll get Cake and Monero to maybe add these features as well. That's the goal.
That would be
supports it, I'm gonna
awesome
be
if
a very
Cake
happy
had.
camper. Yeah,
That would be. Oh yeah, dude, I'm all with you on that. That'd be amazing.
And Cake has kind of gone around solving the problem by having background sync, right? But
which
still not as instant.
I know it's a bit of a pain point, but that's just the case with phones. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. And then also we have a block explorer for people who want to. If you can go to that screenshot for people that want to check transactions, it of course uses the blockchain on the device to show transactions and everything else. And you can also, it's basically the same as xmrchain.net, I believe, but it's we've got a little custom interface for it, and it's completely on the device itself.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up real quick.
There's also been a lot of changes to the interface and making it actually like fully functional.
But yeah, we're happy to report that functionally, at least on our test rig, which is based on the old processor, the T4. Yep, at least on the functionality side, the test is very positive. Things are stable. And once we get the new chipset fabricated, which will probably begin in the next few weeks, along with the finalization of the design of the enclosure, but it would work out of we're going to test the new chipset with the mining stuff and all these programs. So this is a collection of Monero D, XM rig, and what else? The light wallet server, for example, and a lot of processes, the auto update, for example. And so this is all very finely tuned, I would say, and that's why it kind of necessitated its own project because it became its own thing, separate from the starting point, which was Pinode XMR, which does have a lot of these features, the light wallet server and being able to support nodes, but again that it serves a different kind of hardware stack. It supports all kinds essentially, and it's very step by step. It has a menu interface where you can install whatever you want on pretty much anything, including Raspberry Pis. And so it's really a fantastic project. And since then, we've just kind of taken that idea and ran with it. Custom hardware, custom software as well. Nothing, very superfluous at all. And so a very lightweight package that has a lot of overhead for future use, I would say. So now with the 2 terabyte hard disk, I would say what we were planning for 5 years, I mean, at least for storage, assuming the chipset goes that long, and there's no reason to believe otherwise, but this would extend it to 8 or maybe even, that at a stretch. Of blockchain support. So that's really something that we're very excited about as well.
And of course, you can upgrade the storage in the future. Is that what size M.2 NVMe is that? Is that the standard 2280?
The full size, yeah.
Okay, that makes it extremely cheap to upgrade especially in the future.
Yep. So I saw a comment by Hundahausen. Will it support WireGuard VPN? I don't think that's even a bad idea to add. As far as I know, it's pretty easy to use WireGuard, and it's should be easy to add it to the UI as well. I would definitely consider it. Yeah.
Cool. Write that down.
Yeah, write that down.
All right, so I think we'll wrap it up here, guys. You go to moneronodo.com and pre-order one. We have a bunch of pre-orders already.
So you buy a box and it's just a note. No, that's not at all what it is. We've just been explaining that's not what it is.
Somebody has not been listening and is just trolling.
Yeah, I know.
Which is unfortunate.
I do like Monero, though. Just saying.
Yeah.
I do like Monero. It's a great coin.
I did, but no longer. I no longer.
It lost its wow effect.
Yeah, so sell all your wow. No, guys, it's much more than that, right? And
it's much more than that.
Especially for the noobs, right? This is an easy way to run Monero and use Monero in the most ideal way possible, especially with the light wallet server that we have going, that we have integrated onto this. You're going to be walking around with your light wallet on your phone. It's going to be instantaneous when you're using your Monero, and you know that you're connecting to your own private and secure node. There's nobody peeking in, potentially gaining information about you. There's no worry that you're connecting to, a compromised node or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and so that's what it's all about, and you're securing the network.
Yeah, it's about making hosting your own node easily.
If we could just end it here with perhaps Abdullah, do you want to kind of set the expectations for when these things will actually be delivered? I know we always say it begrudgingly because there's some unknowns in dealing with the fabrication, but I think we could confidently say by the new year we'll be shipping these out to those that have pre-purchased or will be pre-purchasing.
Yeah, the timeline for manufacturing is 4 to 6 weeks, and then we might need a week after that to test on the new hardware, ensure the display and everything works as expected, and the functionality tests as well. But yeah, assuming that kicks off at the end of next week, we should be on schedule for end of year delivery. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on, of course, simultaneously, and with deliveries, there's going to be a whole new bunch of things like logistics and packaging, things of this nature. But we'll ensure we pull through as quickly as possible, and there are no unnecessary delays. The good thing is that the hardware is pretty much locked in. There was a short delay, as we mentioned, with the display, kind of sourcing that. Getting that at a consistent supply, because we didn't want to run out in the future. And so in kind of revising the display with the new case and everything that goes with that, the connection to the chipset and the fixture inside the enclosure and so on, it's been worthwhile, I would say, because the new display and really adds a lot of functionality and flexibility as well. Like we talked about, you could potentially run your own Linux or whatever desktop you wish to on it. And so as a node, it's really going to be really very fast and lightweight, and hopefully endure the test of time.
So, all right.
Real quick to Robio in chat, it's not all in Python. Only the web UI is in Python. The rest is written in Bash script, which is mostly just automation scripts to handle all the services. Which it's just Monero D, Light Wallet Server, Block Explorer, etc. The display is going to be written in C++ with Qt as a framework.
Right.
All right, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. We'll leave it at that. We'll probably have another update as we approach, mid-December. Maybe we'll have Charlie come on as well. He could give us some insight into tech, and then hopefully at that point, maybe we'll even be able to show the sample of one of these before we start shipping them out. The Founders Edition, it's just you could get it in Monero Orange. These photos, as you're seeing here, they don't actually reflect what it's going to look like now with the much larger screen. So we'll be updating all that. But I think we have around 15 or 10 of the Founders Editions left. So only the first 50 orders will be the Founders Edition. So if you want that, you got to grab that. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, guys. I know you've put a ton of work into this. It's been a long journey. It's a very exciting project, and it's never going to be 100% completed, guys. I mean, we'll be shipping these out, and then we're going to continue to iterate and improve the Nodo as we go. You know, with adding new features and things like that. So it's exciting. Thank you, guys. And any last words, Brindel, Abdullah? I don't know if there's anything else you want to leave with.
Nothing to add. I'd like to stick around on the show if it's.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
If you guys can both stick around, and we'll move on to, I guess let's run viewers on stage. Get anybody else up here that wants to.
Martian on stage.
All right, let's do it.
It's the Viewers on Stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down.
You know the drill. Let me know in the private chat if you want to come up.
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, I thought you didn't come on.
What's up, man?
I thought you didn't come on.
You're live, man.
Wow. Now it's going to get good. Now it's going to get really good. So here's my question for you. Is that, and people say things like, New York is too far gone. And I say things like, New York is the only place to be. So what do you think the chances are that we can have a brick and mortar store in NYC? A Freedom Town. I'm asking you.
Yeah, we've spoken about this before.
I know we have. Now I'm asking you again, and like live. Because you know what? There's no secrets about this. Why should there be?
No, absolutely no secrets. There's no. Well, I mean, there are secrets.
There's secrets, but why should there be secrets about this?
No, I'm not being secretive. I think it's a great idea. We just need to flesh it out. We're talking about trying to have a physical. We're talking about having a physical presence here in New York City. I mean, it could be anywhere in the world.
Yes.
But we're thinking New York could be the place. A physical presence for Monero, freedom-loving folk, cypherpunks, those that are getting into the movement, to come find us, come talk to each other, create the community in the real world, maybe sip on some gratuitous coffee as we plot and plan on how to grow Monero. I mean, I obviously think it's a fantastic concept. As you know, I have quite a bit on my plate, so I'm totally down for trying to make it happen. But what are you thinking, D. Martian?
So people that don't know us know that we're both very friendly with one another, and so I'm trying to pick a fight with him right now. I'm trying to get a little. I'm trying to aggravate you. I'm trying, but not in a bad way.
I'm easily aggravated, very easily aggravated, but not by you, man. You just can't.
I'm not.
You're not.
Try to aggravate me. Try to aggravate me. No, you aggravate me if you'll tell me something that's not really smart, but you don't say things that aren't really smart all the time. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea, man. We just got to.
So I don't think you do. I actually don't think you do. Because I think that New York is a place to be, and I think that you've talked to people and you've come down to the conclusion that it won't work out in NYC. But I think NYC is still a place to be.
No, not at all. I want to.
Why not?
I'm not leaving New York anytime soon because of the connections, the roots I have here. So I'm here. I'm invested. I need something like this to happen here. So no, you're wrong. I'm completely dedicated to that concept.
So what would it look like? What would that concept look like in your mind?
For me, it looks like a cafe where people come, they hang out, they drink their coffee, they buy their eggs for Monero. We have other vendors that come and show up and sell things for Monero. Basically a living Monero marketplace, right? A Monero town square, a physical Monero town square.
I got what you need. I've been actually playing with a proof of concept Monero menu for a physical store location that would take what would happen is it's just a web page. And so what it does is it takes the current Monero price, and then you give it, say, like 20 items. You give it a name, you give it a price, and then it automatically you give it the price in fiat, and then it automatically gives the price, calculates the price in Monero, and then displays that on like a website. So you just go to this website, and it's like hamburger 100.3 Millinero, and I've set it in Millinero, so it's like or like drink 10 Millinero, 10 MXMR.
That's reasonable price. Yeah, Millenares for hamburgers. So wait, what's your point? Were you trying to tell us?
I'm just saying that if you're gonna make a cafe, you can use this thing I've been working on. So like you can be like a cup of gratuitous cup, and then give the price or whatever in Millinero.
Yeah, I've had a great time with gratuitas. I'm a coffee snob, by the way, and I've had only gratuitas for like almost a whole year because I have a subscription to gratuitas. And let me tell you, it's like I don't get paid to say any of this, but gratuitas is good fucking coffee, and we get to pay or tip our farmers and everything. And I love it. I love that shit.
I buy gratuitous every month.
Ian is saying Parallel Polis exists. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a beautiful place. So we kind of want to iterate on that and create a version of that in New York City. That's the best way to explain it for anybody who's familiar with Parallel Polis in Prague, which is where the last MoneroCon was. And it's a center for cypherpunks to come and hang out. They have meetups there. They have conferences there. We're thinking, in spite of New York being approaching what is a dystopian nightmare, we want to create a Monerotopia there, right?
Monero, but who has Monero in New York? Who's going to spend Monero in New York?
I know what.
I'd say California and New York are probably the worst two places in the U.S. to try to do that.
Well, for what reason? I mean, it's perfectly legal to spend Monero here and accept.
Oh, it's legal. It's legal to spend it, but unless you're going to get it on local Monero, you can't get it on any exchanges, basically, because the darn bit license. They've basically done everything they can to kill Monero in New York. They haven't succeeded, of course, but they've tried.
They've succeeded.
Yeah, no. Trust me, I'm familiar with that. I mean, that's. But there's a silver lining there, right? So it's forcing people to use Monero in the most ideal way possible here in New York, right?
Even with local Monero, though, I've heard of sellers that like you can say, I want to buy Monero for cash, and if you have a New York address, they won't accept you, even on local Monero.
Yeah.
So here's my solution.
But that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem that this center would solve, right? So this is also a place where you go to meet people to purchase Monero for cash, right? To trade peer to peer, not as a money exchanger, but where you're meeting other people that are into Monero, and whether you're selling them goods and services for Monero, or you're looking to purchase goods and services for Monero, or you're looking to exchange dollars into Monero or Monero into dollars, all that can be tied into this Monero town square. Basically, XMR Bazaar in the real world.
So, Doug, I'm going to turn off my little like being mean against you for a second and give. So here's what I'm going to tell you is that Vic has come up with a good way of giving gift cards that are discounted for versus things. And the reason why, I presume, actually I don't know if this is true, but because we all pay another tax every time we go to any store, any place, because using credit cards has been so commonplace that people just include the extra tax onto the charge. And so that's the way it goes. And some places, it's not every place, but some places give you a discount if you pay with cash. It might be up to 5%. I mean, I see lots of places that give 5%. I would give more, but if you go to Vic's things, there's gift cards, like
are you talking about Cake Pay?
And so what I got to tell you is that I could go and say, if you take Monero, I will come back to you each week, or not maybe every week, but every time that you get cash, every time you get someone to pay with Monero, I will come to you that week and I'll give you cash. That's the start. And guess what? I make a little money too, because I get that discount. So now we've created a viable economy for someone to just go around telling people to take Monero and getting the money back from the unnecessary tax that they've all imposed upon us and we've all accepted, but we don't need to accept anymore. We don't need to do that. We can choose a better way.
Are you talking
I wanted
about,
to chime in on this too.
Pay? Is that what you're talking about?
First, how do I sound right now, real quick? Because
You sound fine. You sound fine.
Okay.
You sound like an orchestra singer.
So, well, thank you very much. The first thing I was gonna say is D Martian, as always, is tapped into some next level shit here, because we already know that the price of commercial real estate and rental properties in New York is absolutely insanely overvalued and is doomed to plunge into the abyss. And that would be the most unbelievably prescient time to get yourself in and get a contract negotiated where your lease agreement stays the same no matter who picks up the property. Because that's going to be looked at as an asset to cover some of the losses if it were to change hands for some reason. And then the second thing that I would point out is we've already seen through whatever wizardry it is that Doug does here, that this show is growing rapidly. I mean, 3 hours is never enough, right? It's like literally never enough. There would be an incredible incentive to set up a studio with ease of access to a major international airport, and something where it's not super hard to find a hotel or an Airbnb or whatever. And the other thing is, you could cover a tremendous amount of your cost by making a studio available with like rental slots that's in a public cafe, but it has sound booths, right? So you can kind of, for the purposes of the show, you can dampen the noise significantly or whatever. But there's a lively and interesting crowd in the background. And if anybody out there is wondering whether or not this works, the most god-awful and boring shows in the entire world, like the morning news shows that they run internationally for, like, Fox and Friends, are just this absolute trash. They do it in front of a window on the streets of New York for a reason. And it's because it adds a whole, there's a huge segment of the population that loves people watching. And I've been to a lot of shows and conferences in my life, and there is almost nothing in the world more interesting than the Monero crowd, right? They're always bleeding edge. They're always thinking outside of the box. People absolutely love the social atmosphere that comes out around with a bunch of cypherpunks. And one guy, I mean, if anybody was at Monerotopia, it's like you'll have a guy like covered in spikes and leather jackets, and he looks like he just walked out of a biker gang, standing next to like some nerdy chick and some tranny, right? It's like, or it's like the most diverse and interesting people you'll ever meet. And the thing is like, if you could cover such a huge chunk of your commercial costs by having a studio where that kind of crowd is just organically congregating, and you'll never know what they've consumed or what they're on or what they're talking about. I mean, it could be absolutely anything. But then any of those people could then continue the show by just walking out into the cafe and interviewing people about what they think about whatever they're talking about. The value added proposition is absolutely incredible. The only thing you would want to wait on is for the commercial property costs to come down.
Yeah, that's the issue.
But it's inevitable, right? There's absolutely no way in an environment where brick and mortar stores of the conventional variety are collapsing, but face-to-face communication is in more demand than it's ever been.
True.
Right? So your operating costs would go way down, and then the value proposition, it continues to climb. I mean, people are so sick of like, you know, FaceTime and like Instagram and all that, like at least, you know, outside of the normies that nobody wants to talk to anyway, right? They're interested in something like this. And so if you were to carefully do your planning and then wait for that bubble to burst, you know, it would be a really, really good opportunity to scoop up like a 10-year lease agreement for way less than what people do now. And this is exactly the kind of community that would be on board to cover a lot of those costs, to see, you know, a 5 days a week Monerotopia kind of thing going on. And then, you know, like the Saturday show could always just be focused on Monero stuff. But, you know, this is a community that has a lot to say about a lot of topics, you know, so there's all kinds of time that could be spent on, you know, discussing other things from the perspective of the cypherpunk attitude. Now I'll quit stealing all the showtime here, but I just thought
you make a good point though.
Very good points, man.
I could try to be mean to you. I've got nothing to disagree with. I have nothing to play on.
Well, I'm a fat nerd, so you could start there. Like,
yeah, I mean, Alaska Anon, you're hit. I mean, that's the difficult part is the real estate, finding a place here in New York. I mean, everything is.
Are you wearing a Tux shirt?
Yeah, it came from Tux.
Good for you, man. That's
Free
awesome.
and open source.
Yes.
If you guys, I know you guys couldn't see it, but while we were backstage, my son was back here. He's wearing his Tux shirt too, and he's like, he's the biggest Tux fanboy in the entire world. He just absolutely loves it. So he has one too in red, and he was just having like an absolute field day. Like, I got a Tux shirt and he's on the show. This is so cool. Like,
bound to be the next Torvalds.
So I want to hear Doug's response to what you just said.
Like you, man, I have nothing to argue against. Let's get it going. Let's do it. Let's talk more action. I mean, I'm willing to try to put this A year ago, 2 years ago, I was out on the streets of New York selling coffee on the street, selling it for Monero, and you'd be surprised at how well it worked out.
Really? Because how popular is Monero in New York? Because I wouldn't.
Well, a lot of people didn't know, right? And they come over and they're like, "What the hell is this guy doing? He's out here." Because I was literally doing pour overs in the middle of like, you know, nowhere on the street, and they'd come over and they'd learn about Monero. But you'd be surprised. There were quite a few that did know about Monero.
I mean, Doug is the kind of guy that could almost win a Republican candidate in New York City, almost against the incumbent, and that itself is like crazy.
We can do big things here.
Key with a project like this.
Yeah,
you do what you can to prepare for the opportunity when it arises, and then when those prices collapse and there's people who own this real estate at a massive loss are absolutely panicking, is the perfect opportunity to swoop up like an incredible long-term commercial real estate deal.
Here's something that you don't know and here's something that Doug does know, is that I actually did get a certain artist, like a very good artist, to commit to the project already. And that artist is like, hey, let's go. And just us talking like, hey, like there's a lot of people, like there's a lot of energy in the room right now. And I think that we should make something fucking happen. Why not?
I will say my only not hesitation. I want the real world thing to happen, and it will happen. But I think we might be energy or time better spent focusing on the virtual, right, and connecting the community, the global community, and getting traction.
I think that's already happening.
Right, that's already happening, but there's a lot of building that could still be happening there, right? Like, so XMR Bazaar that we're trying to build, I mean, is really going to tap into that. Monero market, what we're seeing there, it's gaining traction. I mean, so tapping into the global market of people that are already aware of Monero, interested in Monero, into Monero, and looking to live off of Monero, rather than trying to find the 10, 20, if you're lucky, 30 people in New York that are into it. Find globally the 10,000 people or more already into it.
What you just said is that both these things are tandem. Is that like the 10-20? What if it's not 10-20? Maybe it's like a whole thing going on in New York, and there's also that amplifies everything else. That amplifies the online, and
I don't know how much you guys are into like
everything's fucking like Gucci.
Steve Martian has had a. How many cups of gratuitous coffee did you drink this morning, man?
I drank 0, and that's the
5
problem.
of these.
I'm ADHD,
5 of these.
And if I don't take my meds, and I don't take Adderall and like speed, I am like.
Yeah, I was just about to say he's on like some sort of drug.
This is his normal behavior. This is
it really is what he's like. I'm not even.
It's not.
Dude, when do we go into LCD sound system? Let's start with that.
Well, we could definitely. Dude, do you know they're coming again to Queens?
Yeah, hit me up.
December. Yeah,
we will do that. We will do that together.
Right, so we're going. Yeah.
I wanted to throw out there real quick though. So you got one guy named Shortwave Surfer and one guy named D Martian. Yeah. And the thing is what Doug was saying earlier, you could actually look at it in a little bit more esoteric light, right? The whole meme magic concept and hieroglyphs. But here's the thing. You want to ride the wave that's already happening. Okay. And then you want to be prepared to catch the next wave. So you could think of it like the celestial alignment, right? Are the stars aligning for these things? And the truth is right now people live in a digital space and they're looking for a way out, and we need to be there to catch it. And then when they find their community, when they find their niche, you need to then create that nest for them to lay their eggs, right? And the reality is right now people are just looking for a way out of like the wicked world that we live in. And you're going to have kind of like a roaring 20s scenario. And, what better people to run the Monero speakeasy than D Martian and Doug, of course. But the beginning of the brick and mortar wave is not yet. And it's because people are priced out of it. Right. So you have to play along with the economics long enough to make sure that you do not price people out of being able to participate. So go ahead.
I think you could also start as like the way I started, right? With zero overhead on the street, selling coffee, right? Try to start with quarterly meetups and then turn it into monthly meetups. And the quarterly meetups would be getting everybody together that's into building a Monero circular economy in person, coming together collectively. And then slowly that turns into a place with the headquarters that, just exist 24/7.
Yeah, it's just like you start with a home Bible study, and then you create like a home fellowship, and then you create a home church. And then you get a building, and then you start your community outreach. And but the idea of like a nucleus of the people who are already all in, and then working your way out organically as the opportunity presents itself.
So last but not, so here's something that motivated me is that I realized like what's the point of your life? Maybe you want to fight for freedom. And if you want to fight for freedom, we
destroy the banks and bring down the government.
You don't need to use muskets anymore. We can actually use Monero instead of muskets, and we have this, and it's slow. And you look at history, and it's so condensed. But if you expand the history, it actually takes a lot of work. And we're making the work happen right now. And some of those efforts that we've been putting into our lives are actually might pay off. And if you see so what we're doing right now, I saw it like it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen the way it's happened. And I'm not going to blame anyone for that. Actually, Doug has done more for Monero more for freedom than most people have done. And so we can't say anything that Doug hasn't done, but we need to act on our own. We need to actually like do our own thing to also push things forward. And we haven't done enough yet. We need to find a way for things to connect.
I completely agree. A peaceful solution is the way forward.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you're taking the shot.
All right. I didn't know D Martian would be showing up today. Otherwise, I would have smoked my weed this morning.
Thank you, sir.
I'm adjusting. We were gonna do news, but I feel like I don't know.
It's better, right? It's better.
We'll Tux, you want to quickly run the news, and we'll run through it quickly because we're already now we're well over 2 hours here.
Quickly do the news, huh? Ha ha ha.
Yeah, let's see. Is there anything?
Yes, we do have news. I just
right, let's do it.
It's a fair amount. Yeah, let's run that segment.
I need to get out. I need to get outside, guys. It's beautiful over here. We got to,
I do have a project to talk about a little bit after.
Sure. Let's quickly run the news, and then Shortwave, you could chime in with that.
And now for our weekly news segment.
All right.
Who's this schmuck who's complaining about being?
It's the Bawdyanarchist guy. I timed him out because he was just spamming useless comments, and then now he's joining with like a bajillion accounts, just spamming.
All right, so
very productive time.
Like pointlessly.
Dude, or jump up on the show. Like if you're not
yeah,
bad.
come on the show, buddy. Get on up here.
You don't need to turn your camera on, but just don't waste our time and waste everybody's spamming a bunch of shit.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
So, first article, IRS extends comments period for new crypto tax rule to mid-November. The proposal is supposed to come into effect 2026, impacting sales and exchanges conducted 2025. The U.S. IRS has extended the commentaries period for crypto tax reporting rules proposed in August 2023. The public consultation will last until November 13th. The gross proceeds and basis reporting by brokers and determination of amount realized and basis for digital asset transactions rules were made public on the 29th. Under the regulations, brokers will need to adopt novel reporting form to streamline tax emissions and reduce instances of tax evasion. So just more trying to get people to pay tax with their crypto. And this happens along with Kraken being forced to give up a bunch of information by the IRS. So, yeah, any comments?
Not really.
I guess I was trying to think that decentralized exchanges might be the way to go, but I don't know. I mean, I'm on the fence.
Don't switch into fiat, because if you don't switch into fiat, there's nothing to tax.
No, I like to keep my value.
Yes, if I remember correctly, the rules are if you're going back to fiat, pulling in your bank account, that's a taxable event. If you're exchanging crypto, it's taxable. But I think if you're actually withdrawing, it's not. Like if you're withdrawing to a wallet, I don't think it is taxable.
No, it's not a taxable event, but they'll consider it a taxable event until you prove otherwise. I think essentially is what happens. So like if
sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to prove that it wasn't a spend, that you're just moving it to your own wallet. Right.
So, Tom Emmer, I think you shared this one, Doug. You probably have more idea on this one than I do.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because Tom Emmer,
it looked like he was going to get the House Speaker, right?
Yeah, he almost became the Speaker, which would have been exciting because he's the most. If there's anybody out there that's in the U.S. representative that could potentially be pro Monero, it's this guy. Although he never really mentions Monero, but he always talks about the importance of cash and digital cash. He understands that concept like no other U.S. representative. So it would have been awesome to have him in there as the U.S. House Speaker, but he quickly got derailed. I think his bid lasted for like 2 hours, and then he had the kind of the more extreme arm of the Republican Party come after him because I think he had confirmed the election when Biden was elected, as opposed to being one of those people that was denying the results of the election. So that's what he got killed off for. But it would have been amazing to have him in that seat. Unfortunately not. But he's a cool guy. Keep an eye on him. Would love to have him on the show. Yeah.
Instead, we get the snake, Mike Johnson, who immediately is trying to shovel money to other countries, which is great and unsurprising, but unfortunate. So, from fiat demise, Monero donations lead the crypto pack one day to Jeff Berwick's fundraisers. This is for the Acapulco hurricane relief. This group punches way above its weight in generosity. So this is what we were talking about earlier with the hurricane. Look at that, Monero.
Wow,
that is amazing.
Fucking Darrow, dude.
Is that Darrow? Oh yeah, that's Darrow.
200, not even $200 in Darrow. I mean, that's like the
I
whole.
think they're small.
I didn't even know there was $200 in circulation in Darrow. That's something.
Yeah, I had a bunch of Darrow people commenting, telling me, like, trying to promote Darrow, whatever.
Conceptually, it's great, but I don't think it actually works. I think it's kind of.
And I am curious. So if any Darrow people wanted to come and give their opinion, that would be interesting. Because I'm always curious about new. I think all of us are. This is like the general Monero sentiment, is that we're curious about other projects.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if Darrow is actually like, usable.
Yeah, I mean, if you do like donation divided by market cap, right? So like Monero is
crazy
by far at the top, right? So 40 grand worth of Monero has been donated versus what was it, like 8,000?
44 now versus 12,000.
Versus 12,000 in Bitcoin, right? So
yep.
What does that say? I think it's a testament to the fact that people actually use Monero, right? Especially for something like this. If I'm gonna send money, if I'm gonna donate, if I'm gonna actually transact with it, I'm gonna use Monero. I'm not gonna use
Monero's cheap. You're saving the most amount of money using Monero.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Most of the money goes to the person who's getting it. So
I think I had mentioned to you guys on a different show about getting stuff to Hawaii during the nightmare, right? And a lot of people were talking about, well, you can send gift cards because they're actually getting through. And it was hard to rally people to use Monero to do it. But the irony is my Monero got there in 10 minutes. They were able to use it like right away. And then we shipped several pallets of stuff down to help with the fires in Hawaii. And I think they ended up getting it like a month and a half later. And some people, had allegedly, I'm not saying this actually happened, but allegedly, neither confirmed nor denied, people had also put like cash and gift cards and envelopes inside of the pallets. I mean, who knows if that's true or not, but those things didn't get to them for almost 2 months, right? And the thing is like, the humanitarian aspect of what Monero brings to the table is so unbelievably underrated right now. And it would be a huge marketing thing, right? So right now you've got two sides like yay Palestine or yay Israel and burn other guy down, right? Well, you could be talking to one guy about how, humanitarian aid has been denied to Palestine, but you could easily use Monero. And then you could be talking to somebody else and you can be like, all of these people who have lost power at the shelters or whatever, well, you can use, network services and your cell phone to transact in Monero, right? It's like no matter which side you're on, no matter which side somebody else is on, you can always appeal to the humanitarian instincts of a person by showing them what Monero is capable of doing. And honestly, like, it would be awesome to get posters of these made, right? Like donations
Agreed.
made to Acapulco, and then you could show like the value in all of the crypto, and then you could show all of the non-profit donations and whatever. And then days before it saw results or made it to the hands of the, Monero 10 minutes, FEMA 612 years, or what it's like.
Yeah.
You could make such an amazing propaganda poster out of this if you were an artist, which I'm not, but somebody out there. I'll buy one if you make it.
Yeah, I would too.
All
I like it.
right, this one's interesting. Last week, a Wall Street Journal published a report citing elliptic research to claim that Hamas has raised as much as $93 million prior to their terror attack in Israel. This was seized upon by Senator Warren, who cited the report in a letter criticizing crypto with over 100 congressional signers. People in crypto knew that this figure was shocking and had to have been overstated. Within days, Chainalysis came out with a post explaining the basic error in the data. If a rogue exchange with $10 million in volume sends 1,000 to Hamas, you can't count that as 10 million to Hamas.
Sorry.
Today, Elliptic, the sole source of the 93 million figure, has unequivocally said the research is being misrepresented.
No way.
Yeah, the company also said that they were
shocking.
trying to explain this to Senator Warren's office and the original Wall Street Journal reporters. So what now? Does the truth have reached DC? Well, we can try.
Yeah, we spoke about this last week too, and
Informative and unfortunate.
Thinks for 1 minute that these people don't know that it wasn't $93 million and that they're full of shit. Like, we're trying to tell them that they're wrong. It's you don't say. But the thing is these people have like hundreds of, I'm like literally working with senators right now. And the thing is that they have teams of like 100 people to, do all of the homework and bring them just the
100
facts.
retards.
Yeah, and the thing is they'll get all of the info and then they'll just pretend like they haven't seen it and start, hammering on the talking points that are like provably wrong. They know. Of course they know.
Unbelievable.
This guy is still spamming. What is wrong with this individual?
What guy? I don't see anything.
In the comments.
No, I see him, but I don't see anything.
Endless. Dude,
Hop on, dude. Come on.
There's nothing wrong with him spamming. It's only pushing the reach. So that's
yeah. We appreciate
That's true. That's a good point.
But hop
honestly,
on.
we should probably cut him in. We should be like, "Wow, thanks for all of the active promotions." I think it's the
Just come on the
Monero
show.
guy. He's just like probably drunk.
It
Yeah,
is
no,
the
it's the Monero guy. Yeah.
I was 12 once. But the thing is that Arctic Mine indeed made some very good points about Chainalysis basically being semi-bullshit and not really being all that great at what they do, but that, it kind of makes them even more dangerous because it can easily wind up in innocent people, getting arrested over a miscalculation. Something as retarded as what they did here. So all the more reason to use Monero. I mean,
Unproven black box algorithms that the government uses to apply air quote justice. Love it.
The orb says you're guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
But pretty crazy that they're even coming out and be like, wait a minute, you're
$93 million.
Because they're benefiting as the government amps up regulation, right? If Senator Warren's bill passes, elliptic and chain analysis actually, they stand to benefit greatly.
Quote justice.
And here they are, they're out there like, wait a minute, even you guys, you're going a little overboard. We're not saying that.
That is kind of funny, yeah.
All right, Turkey plans to craft crypto framework in 2024. 2024 Turkish presidential annual program published on October 25th in the official Gazette of the Republic of Turkey aims to finalize crypto regulations in the country within the calendar year of 2024. So crypto is becoming more regulated in Turkey.
Time for a roach coin. Anyway. Good for them, I guess.
Did you just say roach coin?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
That's awesome.
I didn't say anything.
For those of you who don't know, be glad that you don't know because you have no business being on those places on the internet anyway. So
I had the feeling you would know, Alaskan. Anyway,
we'll keep that among you guys.
Bank of Spain.
The after hours show that is not broadcast on YouTube may feature more jokes like this. You guys.
Yeah, maybe we need
Monerotopia After Hours.
Yeah.
For just Alaskanon and whoever else wants to join.
Doug, I will absolutely host the After Hours, and I'll put a disclaimer.
Do an Odyssey
Douglas
or something.
Tillman does not endorse this in any conceivable way.
Odyssey or PeerTube or something. Why not?
You won't stream it though, right? Like it's just you could come into
No, it'll be live, and we'll invite Mr. Rocky.
We could host a PeerTube like he's talking about. I mean, most of these like 5-letter agencies and 3-letter agencies don't even know how to use that stuff. So we could just the 9 people in the Monero community who actually are just like making roach jokes and stuff.
What is this one? Tux. Make
Bank of Spain embraces digital euro, explains its benefits. Yeah, Spain with CBDC stuff. All these countries slowly.
I'm all for it because
adopting
it's
CBDC.
free advertising for Monero.
In a way, yeah, if we can get the word out there. Or else they will fall into the CBDC trap.
Oh wait, and that's where they're talking about. If you go back, right? We talked about this last week. The authors highlight the possibility of offline payments,
offline payments.
digital euro, emphasizing its level of privacy equivalent to cash. So they're proposing a system where you're going to be able to transact offline with digital payments.
Speaking of which,
press X to doubt.
Whatever happened to Fedimint? I know it was kind of a not a very functional thing, but conceptually it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been following that.
You know, I was like burning with stuff to chime in on, as an Alaskanon does, while ComradeBlin was doing his thing, because like that would actually be a huge chunk of the underlying infrastructure for much more convenient and consistent ways to pay offline and to air gap and all of these other things. Like the idea of having like, you know, hardware pocket wallets that use a system of QR codes and cameras to air gap connect, you know, to air gap the keys to your wallet. You know, that has deployable functionality for all kinds of other things involving like offline transactions.
Yeah, I think one thing that's possible is like you can sign a transaction and then hand it to somebody and they can then broadcast it at some point to the blockchain. But I think there's like a lot of issues with like validity and stuff. Like something may happen. You may spend those coins before he gets to you know broadcast the signed transaction you gave him and all that stuff.
Well, all you would have to do is just build it in. I mean, just like the way that a PGP key works, all you'd have to do is build it in where if somebody took it offline and then they spend it offline, it's built into the chain. What I mean is it's built into the same key as the original, right? But there are ways to like irreversible mathematics. There are ways to do it. You know, I mean, they're not integrated with Monero's code base now, but it's not only like feasible, but it would just be one math problem. It'd be a big problem, but it'd just be one.
Just being able to give somebody like a tiny piece of hardware that maybe with a USB or with, like you said, a QR code, you give that to somebody and they then have, I don't know, 5 Monero or whatever. That would be beautiful. But yeah, anyway.
All right, keep going.
All right. More CBDC. Chinese digital yuan CBDC used for first time to settle cross-border oil deal. CBDC and de-dollarization saw major strides last week with the 1 million barrel deal on the Shanghai Petroleum and Natural Gas Exchange.
And stop listening. Still fucking Liberty Jam.
What's absolutely hilarious is all of these people 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Well, yeah, Monero is a great idea, but how am I going to buy my gas? How am I going to get my food? How am I going to pay my taxes? And I'm always like, well, don't pay your taxes for one, but for two, yeah, it's like, and now the governments are like, hey, we want to be able to buy oil, guys. We want to be able to pay taxes, guys.
It's only like, cool when we do it.
Yeah, it's cool when we do it. It's okay now.
When you're large and you're in charge and you own the system, and then you love the status quo.
Exactly, yeah.
Welcome to the system. Everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white. It hates you all. Tom McDonald, The System. It's an awesome song if you haven't heard it.
Nice.
I can't recall the song, but I do recall the quote.
So next we have some bounties for Passport to Monero. So there's lots of people who have talked about wanting Monero support for the Passport because the Passport is really, really nice hardware, but it's it only supports Bitcoin, as far as I understand. So there's been talk about Monero, and so one of the developers not on developer time, set up this repository and did some, I guess, rudimentary work to see what it would be like for sitting up Monero and Passport. And so it created a bunch of bounties. So if you have the means to do this and you want to, I think this is mostly in C, yeah, a little Python for the interface, I guess. And you want to get paid for it, there's some pretty large bounties here. Create Monero seeds, 5 XMR.
Keep this open.
Export private view key 2 XMR. So if you want to do that, there's some work that can be done.
MJG Foundation.
Hurry up before Luke or Blin find this. You're not going to have any.
All right, thank you.
Oh, nice, Brindel. You can jump on that. That's cool.
I'm at least gonna look around. Maybe I can help.
Nice.
Tweet from Seth about the Ledger Recover. Please do not use the service. If you use the service, if you sign up for simple seizure of funds, if Ledger willingly or unwilling due to government pressure decides to collaborate with one of the other storage providers. And somebody had actually asked this in a Reddit thread. They were like, play devil's advocate if subpoena was issued to Ledger. What would they do? And he was like, yeah, if the government could subpoena, then they could get access to your funds.
How is it even a hardware wallet anymore at this point?
It's insane. It completely takes away all the main benefit. The main benefit is probably protecting you from the government, because you are more likely to have that seized by the government than by a thief, to be honest. And they're just giving the keys back to them, basically. Takes a longer time.
What
right?
a great idea.
A much longer means, because getting a subpoena and having that go through usually takes a while.
It's funny because I actually thought about maybe getting a Ledger, and then I heard about this, and
it's
honestly like I see
Cancel
no
Ledger.
advantage to not just using a trusted open source wallet on a graphene phone. Like I can, like all of these hardware or not all. No, excuse me. There's a bunch of them that are sick. But I mean, like, a lot of people who think they're getting added security, it's just adding another non-trustworthy device to your chain.
Just use the Monero signer.
And remember,
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that. Remember, all the government is thieves that have pieces of paper that say that they can do things.
Yeah, and other people in the same group that say, "Oh, that piece of paper is valid."
Mm-hmm.
True. And friend, to the friend before you, the thing is that privacy sells. People actually care about privacy. They care about, they always have. But if you sell privacy, it's not real privacy, and people don't know, then we get what we get. But if people educate people,
and it also
privacy is, things change.
Yeah, it ruins trust in privacy.
You got to wonder why Ledger went this direction. Why wouldn't they just made like if anything, a completely separate product device that would do this and just keep?
Biden told them to.
I mean, it's
he doesn't have that capability.
Hi.
Hey,
show me a shirt.
It's like you're selling a hardware wallet.
Say thank you for the
that's
shirt.
epic.
You're selling a hardware wallet, and with a backdoor, and they're like, but no, it's not a real backdoor because
a backdoor is sold as a feature. Yeah,
shards, and it's going to different companies, which you can trust. You can definitely trust.
Do we even know the names of the companies?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think all the they're probably listed on the website. I'm pretty sure it's public.
Yeah, but you know my point, right? Who the fuck even are they?
Yeah.
Why should they be trusted with? Even if it's like a snippet of my seed, even if it's, I don't know, it's just so dumb.
So, Cake Wallet is having a Monero meetup in Chicago next week, November 2nd, 7 to 10 p.m. It'll be featuring Justin Berman, and Luke Parker will give an update on Sarai.
Awesome.
So, if you are near the area, come by, and you can RSVP on the meetup.com link up there. I will be there. I will see whoever comes.
It's a few
you're gonna be there.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I wish we could go, but I can't. We're running away to Argentina a few days later, and we got to be around here.
Is it going to be live streamed?
I'm not sure.
I think maybe they will.
I'll ask Vic.
But I think it would be unforgivable if you can't find some way to live stream at least part of this. Like, especially like the Luke Parker part. There are a lot of us or very curious. So.
And I think
I'll
is
ask
going to give a
about that.
presentation on full membership proofs. I believe.
Oh fuck yes!
I won't be surprised if they at the very least record it and upload it.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to do that.
I'm
I'll ask.
looking forward to Serapis and Sarai.
Yeah, because Berman's working with Luke. Obviously, Luke is working on Sarai, but he's also, as you guys know, working on full membership proofs, and I think he's working on that with Justin Berman. So I think Berman's going to be giving a talk on the progress that they've had on that work, which is amazing.
Good shit. I think people underestimate just how fucking cool Serapis is going to be.
Yeah, and full membership proofs. It's like
no, that too. I mean, it's part of Serapis, right? It's going to be part of Serapis. Is the idea?
Seraphis, yeah. No, but we're talking about
Seraphis. My bad.
No. The Seraphis is the
Seraphis is the new Monero. Sarai is the Dex. Yeah.
Yes. So Hester Pierce speaks out against LBRY enforcement action. The market could have decided. The SEC commissioner said the regulators' actions forced a group of entrepreneurs to abandon what they built, while LBRY announced in October it planned to wind operations. This is all related to LBRY, I guess, sort of losing a case against the SEC. And they've recently decided to shut down their operations officially. Hester Pierce of the U.S. SEC has issued a dissenting opinion on the regulator's lawsuit against blockchain firm LBRY. In the October 27th statement, I'm sorry. In the October 27th statement, Pierce described feeling unsettled following the SEC's enforcement action against LBRY in March 2021. In November 2022, a judge ruled in favor of the SEC, stating that the firm's LBC token was a security. Though LBRY appealed the decision, the company announced in October it would plan to wind down.
What the fuck is he doing?
D-Marsh, you came in.
Just shut. I thought I was being cool, but I wasn't cool, so I'm just gonna shut up now.
I just hear little blobs just in the background. Yeah, they decided to they're shutting down, as everyone saw last week, millions of dollars in debt due to legal cost. So the case illustrates the arbitrariness and real life consequences of the commission's misguided enforcement driven approach to crypto. I don't think it's misguided. I think it's on purpose, but
yeah, but like we spoke about last week, it's just forcing LBRY or the open source portion of it to become more decentralized, right?
Yeah, so it could end up being a good thing, but at the same time, we might see a little bit of development because, like, unless there's people who have the money and time to pick this up, there's going to be some amount of abandonment. Right?
That's always the problem with these smaller tokens, right? I mean, the idea of a decentralized video platform is fucking cool, but I don't even think this is really the right approach, if you ask me. I think PeerTube does it a lot better, where you actually host your own videos and you share that with people that want to watch it. I think that's like actually decentralized, because for a token like LBRY, that there has to be like a central.
The whole Fediverse thing is like clearly the superior way to do it. And honestly, I think we should use the Unix philosophy, the Unix principle. We use these little features like the ability to tip in Monero, and then tip people who are hosting massive amounts of Fediverse operations, which, by the way, Tux has a donation wallet, everybody, for all of that incredible work that he's doing.
I like that you know what the Unix philosophy is, by the way. I'll ask you.
Well, yeah, it's probably one of the most important concepts that has been nearly abandoned by the modern software. And I'll call them software pleb, because that's what they really are.
Yeah, even the
congratulations, more than 90% of the population. Well, when do you learn something, right? It's like, but the reality is the Fediverse system paired with a simple tipping function, like what Blin was doing, right? Gives you the opportunity to. You could put at the top of your list that your content would be hosted on somebody's, roaring Fediverse server. Or if people are using that video platform to watch your videos, they can either tip you directly as a content creator or tip anybody who's hosting your stuff. And the performance gains over Google everything would be absolutely mind-boggling. Like, for those of you who don't know what the Fediverse is, it is truly amazing.
It's basically what Mastodon uses.
Yeah, Mastodon is the biggest example. It's basically everybody can host their own Fediverse software, which can be Mastodon or Pleroma is another one, or PeerTube, or there's another one. And basically, it can all intercommunicate with each other. So you can have an account on one server, and you can follow people that have an account on another server. It's sort of like
cool.
email. Yeah, it's very nice.
I always said that Mastodon was basically if Twitter and email got together and had a baby, it would be Mastodon.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I host a lot of services, but I don't have any Fediverse stuff yet. So if you want me to host like a new pipe or a Mastodon, let me know. I'll look into that. They are pretty complicated to set up. They do require a decent amount of setup to get started, but I think they're worth it because once you do get them set up, you can work with and start federating with other instances. So yeah.
You know, supposedly if somebody was really driven to, they could like send hardware to an Amazon locker somewhere, and you know, some little birdie might put together all kinds of cool operations. Just suggest.
You know that exists, right?
Speaking of which, there is a LBRY server, and LBRY is basically decentralized Reddit.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
it's basically
Monero.town. That's
decentralized Reddit, and it's Monero.town, and there's already tons of people. Well, quite a few people on there. And I'm one of them.
is so much better than Reddit, by the way. It's like Reddit minus the filth. It's just so much better.
Which is ironic because LBRY, when it started out, it was developed by a bunch of very communist people.
Yeah. It depends on the instance you use, right?
No, like the actual developers of LBRY, the LBRY itself, one of the guys had like a Pol Pot profile picture, and he had like a hard-coded list of words you weren't allowed to use on the platform.
Yes, I remember that. That
was really there was like a fork Lenny with the Lenny face that had it patched out and stuff.
The guys who host all of my Fediverse stuff, they're like diehard anarcho-communists that believe that we need a new Stalin for like a massive genocide. Which, I mean, to each their own, right? But
yeah, on the topic, by the way, I recommend everybody hosts their own website. It's not that hard to do it. There's plenty of resources on how to do it. Landchat.net is one of the websites that perfectly explains how to host.
That's Mental Outlaws, isn't it?
No, Luke Smith, I believe.
What is Landchat.net? Can you pay with Monero? Is that let you buy a domain?
No. It has a bunch of research on how to do it.
It's just resources for how to host a website.
But if you want a server that you can pay with Monero, there's 1984.hosting. There's Nyala. njal.la. There's a bunch of others. They all
look at Monerotopia.com, and they have a couple of web hosts.
Yeah.
Or do it locally and be truly decentralized. Because you could use a VPS, which might be better if you're starting off. It'll probably be better for security, not having open ports on your local network.
Exactly.
But if you really want to get into hosting, learn how to do it locally, because that's truly decentralizing the internet instead of just putting all this stuff back on the same.
If your personal server isn't heating your baby's crib, then you might not be doing.
What are you even doing?
Yeah, it's a good space heater for the winter.
Yeah, you can just make it a Tor site.
What is Dovecot?
Dovecot is an email server, or like an email, something for your email client to connect to.
Was there any more news? Because we got totally off topic.
That was it for the news. That looks like.
That was it. Shortwave, you said you had something you wanted to bring up.
Yeah, so just a quick project that I've been working on. One of the things, I've been using P2Pool for quite a long time, and one of the things that really irritates me is that the P2Pool observer does not work well on a mobile phone. I'm sorry, but a lot of people use mobile devices to access the internet. So what I've done is, at least I'm currently in progress of working on a P2Pool kind of observer client that works well on mobile devices. And I've got an actual mock-up of it. If you'd like to see it, I can put it in the chat real quick.
Fuck yeah.
Do it.
Also, Fedora Silverblue or Alpine Linux. Because Alpine Linux is non-GNU, it's very minimal and very secure. Anyway.
Yeah, it uses muscle, right?
Yes, which is not fastest,
great. And a Docker container as well. And
yeah, that too.
There we go. So it's in the chat now. So that link sends you to an HTML file.
Fucking catbox.
Yeah.
Did you try sending the link in the chat or something?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Yeah, I don't send it to me, and I'll send it because it doesn't let non-moderators send links in the chat. There's no way to change that. It's kind of annoying.
I don't know how to send it to you.
The link doesn't work.
You can send it in the private chat. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
You did private chat. Okay, I thought you were doing the.
Yeah, I sent it in the backstage private chat.
I see. Sorry, my bad. Cool. Yeah,
so
if you want to do self-hosting, the first thing you must learn is Kubernetes. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
No, I was gonna say, what the hell are you talking about?
What I've done here is this is a Bash script, so it's written completely in just Linux Bash, and then I host it on my local machine, and I have it run every 10 minutes with a cron job, and so it runs that Bash script, gets all the variables, and then creates the website that I just sent you in the link.
I think that link is wrong.
Yeah, 404.
Oh no, because it probably expired. Hold up. Oh no.
So if you want to be real Linux chat, make it POSIX shell.
Yeah, hold up. Let me see if I can. It basically expired. Hold up. Let me get a new one.
I can just see the chiseled jaw now. It's like growing inches at a time.
GNU/jaw.
Shortwave. I think it's the first time you've seen you, Shortwave, right? I don't think you've ever put your camera on.
I wonder what
he looks and acts just like I thought he would.
Yeah.
I just wonder where the camera's mounted, or is it like a laptop on his lap? I think so.
Doesn't he have that John McAfee thing going on where he's just like...
Yeah. I don't think he knew the camera was on. Now he shut it off.
Where the feds at? Where the feds at?
No.
They're
gotta be careful.
Bro. They're glowing. That's where the light behind you in the window is coming from.
All right. So are we waiting on Shortwave to show us?
Yeah. I think so. So what do you want to talk about in the meantime?
Can we play this untraceable?
Pull it up.
Yeah, let's play that. I just want to play this. It was good. Well made.
I love Untraceable.
Yeah, he's good, man.
What's he up to nowadays? Oh, this. That looks started.
I'm on T-Row. I don't care about no profit. I don't care about the narrow. Every hash rate.
Crypto Bear and Siddhartha.
Run it. Every hash rate. Like a banker, so I'ma keep it going. Hold up. What you doing this for? You doing it to get rich? I'm trying to make the bank my bitch. Every hash rate.
Wait, I don't think that's the one I was shooting at.
All right, try that one.
I'm not talking about sex when I say that I got a lot of random exes.
These lyrics, dude.
He's so funny.
It's not my style of music, but I do think it's very, very cool.
It's what do you say? Provocative.
Yes. Hey, that's a pretty cool interface.
Yeah, that one. What you should do is you should take it and bring your browser down to a mobile size, like 6 inches across or whatever. That way you can see what it truly looks like. Because I haven't set it so that it changes on desktop for or mobile. Because it's supposed to be for mobile. That's what it's meant for.
I got you. It looks cool. Very nice.
Wait, that was the wrong Untraceable video. Wait, this is the one I wanted you to play.
Oh, really? Okay.
By the way,
it was still lit though.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
It might not be your style of music. It's actually not his either. He
straight
only
fire.
makes that
Is
music.
he really not?
It's the only music he can make by himself. The guy loves rock.
Crypto Bear?
Wow.
Why does he do rock songs about?
Yeah, that would have been fucking awesome.
Crypto Bear on in like over a year.
Oh yeah, it's a surprising fact, right?
All right, here's
That's the thing,
proper
Doug. You
view.
never actually know if you've had Crypto Bear on recently.
That's true. He's probably on right
He
now.
might have come on as all kinds of people, and you would never know.
Yesterday, the Governing Council of the ECB approved the opening of the preparation phase. All European institutions will be involved to make sure that Europe is equipped with the currency of the future.
Monero.
Cash is here to stay. You will have all options, cash and digital cash. So what does it mean for you?
Monero.
The key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control, absolute control, absolute control, absolute control, absolute control, absolute control, absolute control.
Nice.
I'll pay you in Monero.
The necessity of coin joins and so on, that is because you are on free.
Cash or digital, the choice will be yours.
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the gray market.
Bitcoin has a privacy problem. It is still unfixed.
Privacy is the basis of freedom, and without it, we can never be free.
Programming CBDC, those money can be precisely targeted
for what kind of people can own. Walking down the Silk Road, found some homebrewed wine. Hi. Hey. Did we take Monero? Okay, wonderful.
You will have all options. Cash and
absolute control.
I'll pay you in Monero.
She always looks like a villain straight out of the Thunderbirds or something.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the memes
comical.
are true. These people are all so freaky.
They're comic book supervillains.
She's got like the alien dome thing with the
And then there's literally
chin,
Kirby
like,
telling you to have absolute
he's literally
control.
laughing at her like, what's with that freak?
That was a pretty fire video, and Traceable makes nice videos.
Yeah,
Yeah, good shit.
That's the type of memes we need, man. Spread the word.
And D Martian had a cameo.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up here.
Yeah.
I need to get outside, get some vitamin D, go play with my daughter.
Touch some grass.
I'm sure you guys wanna go live your lives as well.
Grand, beautiful day.
Beautiful day, guys. Beautiful day here in New York. All right. We do these shows every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Join us again next week. If you ever want to come up and present something, hit us up beforehand. You could be the special guest if it's something digital cash, Monero related, Liberty Tech related. Just, reach out to us. We could get you on as a special guest, or you could always join, jump up on stage and give your comments. We just ask that you don't spam like this guy who's been spamming for the last 3 hours. just don't be that guy. Other than that, we're open to any and all content, guys. We just don't want you to
join me and Interloper for the PeerTube After Hours completely unrelated special.
Fuck yeah, dude.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Brindel, man, thanks for jumping on today. And
thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Wait. Quick question. How do I find Alescon? This guy's fun. I want
to talk to you as well, dude.
You can only find me if I want to be found.
Okay.
Oh, he comes to you. He comes to
I'm on
I'll
Twitter,
hit you up, bro.
Mars. Okay.
I'll send you a plane ticket. Come on up.
I will.
All right, guys.
Come to Alaska.
Let's close. Do the closeout music. Abdullah, I think you're gone, man. Thank you so much, man, for showing up and presenting on Nodo. Appreciate that.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend.
You too, man.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia